So here I am, COVID and dragged to do a podcast recording. So
yeah,
Wow. Okay, I've got cancer and I'm doing a podcast recording. Fucking checkmate, bitch.
Jesus.
Hello and welcome to episode 136 of the MisanthroPod. I am Snipe, and as always, I am joined by the wonderful, the beautiful, the amazing drummer Matt. Say hello.
Hi, sorry, I'm laughing at your use of the word always. It implies we do this more often than we do.
I am moderately frequently joined. I am very occasionally joined. Yeah, we'll get to that. And I am also joined by the beautiful, the lovely, the amazing, the ethereal Wib. Say hello.
Hello.
How are you lovely gentlemen doing this fine day?
I'm okay. I haven't slept, so I'm probably going to go to bed straight after this podcast.
I'm probably going to go to bed. Good night.
Yeah, just going to go to bed.
Just fall asleep.
But apart from that, I am okay.
Good.
How are you, Matthew?
I'm all right. I've got residual COVID, so I'll try and keep the coughing to a minimum for audio reasons, not for like transferring things down the microphone reasons. But I mean, all things considered, can't really complain. Snipe.
Yeah.
How are you?
Well, I'm also sick, but I'm like way sicker. Just saying, someone's in here trying to be the main character by being sick. I'm okay. I'm in good spirits. I get to talk to my friend, so I'm happy.
I am also here.
And I love you. Handsome.
But I'm always
Nice.
here, so you talk to me all the time.
I talk,
You're
yeah,
sick of it.
literally, I'm fucking, get sick to fucking death. No, I'm joking. I can't even.
He's talking about fucking Transformers again.
I just want to talk about
fair.
Star Wars just for 10 minutes. No one ever lets me talk about Star Wars. Or celebrate a Chilean American actor. Pascal.
Yeah, do you want to do that housekeeping then?
Yeah, I guess. So, elephant in the room. I'm kind of cringe. I went and got cancer. No big deal. If you all haven't heard, yes, I have been diagnosed with breast cancer as of September the 13th this year. I am currently going through my second cycle of chemotherapy. By the time this goes up, I'm probably just preparing for my third. I'm taking to it well. Everyone's been wonderful. Honestly, everyone's been super lovely. And that's why we haven't really had... We had a lot of disruption to the channel and the podcast and everything, all the other outputs, because chemo make me feel yucky. Chemotherapy, famously, not a fun thing to go through.
Yeah,
I mean, even when not doing that, there was a couple of weeks where we were pretty much at the hospital
every day, sometimes twice a day.
So,
which fucking sucks and is very exhausting.
None of any of this is conducive to producing content.
No. Not really. Not really at all.
So, not that anyone... people have been great about
No,
it.
the people have been incredible, but at the same time, the algorithm still notices if you're sick and will fuck you up.
Oh.
Which is kind of shitty of it, but, like, the algorithm don't care if I have cancer.
No.
The algorithm's like, okay, attention whore, get back to work. And I'm like, yes, dear. Yes, capitalism.
It's quite funny because like you'll go onto your YouTube analytics page.
Yes, I just remembered because we uploaded a video telling people that, I was diagnosed with cancer basically the day after I was diagnosed, so it was still pretty raw. And then YouTube's fucking analytics page, if any of you don't know.
Oh, yeah. Fucking hell.
What it does is, if you have a video that's outperforming all your previous videos, you go on your performance page for that, and it just explodes in confetti, and is like, congrats! And it did that about my cancer video.
We did both.
Think at some point, someone will have noticed this before and made it, like, pointed it out, and they could have just very easily just done a... Does title of video contain the word cancer, or like 4 or 5
Does the
other
tags?
Like, yeah. Like,
But
can
no,
we
it
not
was just
just now?
It was like, oh my god, you know when your wife got cancer? Nice one.
Yeah, been a lot of emotions over those few days, and I remember us both absolutely just fucking losing it over that.
Yeah.
So what was it? You
Just
posted it on Twitter and you used that gif of like the kid at the game show looking miserable with loads of confetti flying everywhere. And it was such a perfect gif. Oh, very much. We are having a good laugh about it. It's fine. But yeah.
Yeah, that was.
Pretty funny.
But yeah, so if you're wondering why videos and especially this podcast have been a while,
It's because I'm cringe.
it's been a whole time.
It has been exhausting for everyone involved. Not just chemo, which is basically if for some reason you've been living under a rock or you're an alien or whatever, chemo is basically make me as vulnerable and as damaged as possible, not in the cool Joker emotional way.
More messed up,
It's like, you know that part in Pathologic 1 where if you get an infection rating that's high and then you get caught with a flamethrower and there's that little bug that occasionally lowers you to like next to no health, but it does cure you from the plague. That's basically what chemotherapy is. Chemotherapy is basically like playing Pathologic.
Yeah.
It's really difficult.
And they make you go to the Russian steppes for some reason.
Yeah, it's so weird. I tried to get all that cow blood and the doctors just weren't having it at all. Harris Specs is my favourite character. Anyway, so yeah, elephant in the room. I went and got myself breast cancer like an absolute goon. I'm doing well. If you want to contribute or like buy me a Black Series or chuck in like something to my Ko-fi at Snipe the Sorrow on Twitter. My pin tweet is basically if you want to contribute there, you can, or if you just want to go and say hello and send me a picture of a cat or a picture of a Grogu or a picture of Pedro Pascal. Everything is nice and accepted.
You've had some. I'll jump in here. You've had some emails as well. Just send in just general fuck cancer vibes at you.
Okay, so my favorite part about that video, apart from YouTube being like nice cancer, spot on, mate.
Yeah. Good work. Very algorithmically inclined.
Very
video.
Sigma of you.
Do this more often.
I am not going to be doing that.
Maybe look at what subjects have done well with your audience. Like,
No. I'm also doing a cancer vlog, but episode 3 is kind of difficult because the NHS is being dismantled very violently by the Tory government, whomst I fucking hate, and fund the NHS. And I'm not exactly pro-Labour, but I'm more anti-Tory than I am anti-Labour.
We're just very annoyed and tired with Labour.
Yeah, and I've got cancer, so you have to do what I say. See, it's working. It's fucking fantastic. Thanks, YouTube. What the fuck was I gonna say?
That you were go doing your third part of your log.
I was going to do the third part of my vlog because on my YouTube channel as well, I'm doing that. But it's been tricky. There was another thing I was going to say.
Well, you were saying something about the NHS being defunded, but you never finished that thought, so I didn't know where you were going with that.
I did. Fuck the Tories.
But why?
I can't remember.
Was it because the third video is stressful because of like all the nonsense to do with the NHS you're dealing with, and it's less good than it should be because of that? Was that where you were going?
Something like that, yeah.
Okay.
So everyone has to be nice to me.
It's okay. I'll be an interpreter when.
Thank you. I mean, you are anyway. Yeah. Okay. I'll probably remember it in like an hour, so that'll be fun. But yeah. Oh, also, Drummer Matt. Satnav 711 says hi.
Oh yeah.
Very lovely gentleman that Wib and Longfang raided the other day on Twitch.
Yeah, we've got into the habit of raiding streamers at the end of doing streams.
Okay. Oh, that's when you like your stream Twitch channel like relays someone else's stream when you're done streaming.
I forgot you're a boomer. Yeah.
You basically you take your chat into their chat.
Yeah.
At the end of your stream.
You poop into their butt.
No, you do not.
You could.
No, that is against Twitch's TOS.
Twitter's,
Hey, hello.
it's against
Just
Twitter's.
off.
Too.
Is
said
the
Twitch.
audio allowed? You could do it just off screen.
Yeah, but then just like have a face cam where it's like super zoomed in, and you've got to stay as like uninterested as possible as you're pooping back and forth forever.
Anyway, we raided a guy who it turned out was knew who we were and was a fan of MisanthroPod. So hello there, Sat Nav.
Was that
And yeah, he said explicitly to say hello to you.
No, most Drumblebum.
I think he did say Drumblebum actually.
Yeah, true fan.
Oh, hi.
Wow, Matt, make it awkward. Okay, I'm sorry, Satnav. Ah, terrible. But yeah, I think that's all the house cleaning out of the way.
Probably. It's been a while since we podcasted, and I'm not entirely sure how we do it anymore.
Yeah, I'm
what do we talk about?
Stuff. What is this podcast about?
Cum. We should just recall it the pod cum. Misanthrocum.
No.
The Cumcast. I bet that's actually. Give me a second.
That is definitely a real thing.
There is a very famous podcast called Comtown.
Cumtown.
Yeah.
That's incredible.
That is, yeah.
I do not. I have never listened to it. I cannot vouch for that podcast. Do not take this as an endorsement or a admonishment. I do not
The
know.
Cumcast podcast. We're a podcast about sex, relationships, fuck ships, situations, and everything in between. I gotta give the Cumcast a listen. I'm sorry. That's too.
I hope
funny.
they have a jingle.
I hope they have like a really like 80s kind of like
Everything
guitars.
is so
Come. Oh no.
Anyway. It's going well. Shall I start my bit?
Yeah,
'Cause
what have you been doing for the last
3 fucking
2
months or
or
something?
3 months?
Thoughts on
I checked.
Tom?
The last podcast came out on the 1st of August, but that means we
Fuck
recorded
me.
it. I don't know. I think it was towards the start of July, to be honest. So
Probably. Yeah, it did take a while. One did take a while to come out.
And we were talking about stuff we've done at the beginning of May.
Oh god.
Ah!
So I guess I'll talk about some stuff what I've done in the intervening time to some degree of accuracy.
yeah,
Because some of it's a while ago.
yeah.
So I'll start with something new because I watched it today. Well, most of it today. Which is there's a new Transformers series out.
This has vibes of haven't done your homework. What shall I talk about on the podcast?
Transformers.
Yeah, no, there's a new series called Earthspark. It's
You
just
know
come out.
what's funny? Going back to what Matt's just said. This does smack of, you haven't done your homework. So the thing is, you could make up that this thing is new, and neither of us would fucking know. You'd be like, there's a new Transformers movie that came out today called Transformers Earthspark Optimus Prime.
Oh no, for the new thing
And-
coming out, they call it Robots in Disguise. Whenever they don't know what to call something, they call it Robots in Disguise, which is why there's like 15 things called that.
I love you, but that's fucking irrelevant. I'm saying that you're making it up on the spot because you haven't done your homework. So, and if you did just make up a whole new Transformers series, we wouldn't know.
Okay.
Because we're outside kissing girls on the mouth, but not right now because COVID, but you know what I mean. And I'm immunocompromised, but you know what I mean.
I mean, you have seen some of the series. I have shown you some clips, so you know it exists.
Yeah, but was I paying attention?
No, definitely.
and could you have told the difference between that and other Transformers series?
Maybe. I mean, the kids look a bit Uncanny Valley.
It does.
But that could have just been from a Johnny like video or something.
Okay, what is this new series? Is it a cartoon animated thingy?
It is and it is animated. Yes. It's all CGI because that's just how they do Transformers stuff these days. And I say these days, I mean since what was Armada the last traditionally animated one?
Yeah, I think it was Armada.
Which is in like 2004 or
It
something.
was Armada.
That's terrible.
Thanks for joining me.
But
Look, there is a certain degree of quality that the MisanthroPod listeners don't expect, and I need to keep it below their bar.
this isn't a triumphant return. This is just like
This is a wing.
Oh,
a whingy
it's still
callback.
happening.
It's like, these people are still crying for help.
they've been away and they have learned nothing. Anyway, so Transformers Earthspark, new series. It came out literally like I think it started airing in the UK like a couple of days ago or something.
Goes to a different school. You probably haven't seen it.
And yeah, it's an interesting one in that it is one of the thing that they occasionally do where they have a series that is set after the Great War.
World War One?
Well, after the Great Cybertronian War. I'm remembering why these podcasts were so long.
Wow, I have cancer.
So
Trying to be nice to me.
So it's basically the set around it's on Earth, and the whole Autobots coming to Earth and having their war thing happened in the past. So everyone knows what Transformers are. In fact, the dad of the main characters is like a Transformers historian, and just like he's a big fan of like learning about them. He's actually a Bumblebee fanboy.
So he's Stu Adams.
Kinda. Actually, I'd say he's a historian, so he's more Chris McFeely.
Okay, pardon my ignorance.
And these kids, a pair of kids, they fall into this like cave, and they touch an artifact, and 2 new Transformers are birthed, and these are Transformers of Earth. They are not Cybertronians, and effectively they're just like kid Transformers, whilst the classic Transformers are kind of all knocking around, trying to sort of maintain sort of a peace on Earth, because the war is over. So like Megatron and Optimus Prime are working together like as friends.
That's pretty big of them.
And honestly, Megatron comes across as the more principled one. Which is fun. Optimus Prime is voiced by Alan Tudyk. We've had this conversation many times.
Tudyk. I've seen him say it at a convention. It's Tudyk.
Okay.
Yes.
Nice, yeah.
Yeah.
That was that. I think we had this conversation on the podcast many years ago.
I don't think we had a definitive answer though, right?
Yeah.
We didn't. Not
at the time.
We just ended up saying to dick or not to dick for a while, and then
to dick or not to dyke.
Yeah.
Well.
So Tudyk.
Tudyk. Yes.
Tudyk. Okay.
To you.
Anyway.
To you.
To
Dick.
It's that
to
bloke.
Dick. To me.
It's that bloke voice skim, so that's fun.
Nice. Yeah. Okay.
It's fun because it's got Elita 1 in it from the beginning, who's one of the early female bots, who was...
Oh, great. They made it political.
who's just like a main character from the get-go, which is nice. RC's in it too, in a pink Cadillac
Honestly,
alt mode, which is pretty great.
That's incredible. I remember you saying you can't believe that no one thought of that before, and I'm like, same.
Like, she's a pink car. Why has she never been like a pink Cadillac before?
So good.
Like, of course. But yeah, no, it's pretty fun. It's a kid's show, so you know you go into it with that kind of level of expectation. But yeah, no, it's fun. It's very cute and like has lots of little wholesome moments, like that. Because the new bots are effectively also kind of kids. They're just living with these humans, and they refer to the mum and dad as mum and dad. And there's just something about a Transformer saying like, it's like I'm going out with mum. Like, there's just something really cute about that.
That is so adorable. I can't
like
deal with
them
that.
getting distracted from their Transformers training because a cute cow was there and they want to pet the cow.
I want to pet the cow. The cow was very cute.
Yeah, no, it's embracing the thing that the comics discovered a long time ago, that as well as the big intergalactic war stuff. People also just really like the kind of slice of life things with them, and there's just something kind of fun about having these alien things that you kind of perceive as just being there to fight, but them actually like just existing and having like interpersonal relationships and things. That's just kind of quaint and nice, and it's just a odd avenue to find it, and because you're not expecting it, it kind of just works out really well.
No, that's really
cool. No, I've been enjoying it. It's nice. Speaking at the opposite end of the spectrum of TV shows, I've also been watching Andor.
I have heard good things, and I really do want to watch it, but I am not 100% spoon-wise right now.
It is a show that requires spoons.
I mean, I love Rogue One. I've seen that movie once, and I'm probably never going to see it again because I cried so hard at that fucking movie. The emotional fucking throat punch it delivered to me. I don't know if I have the spoons to watch that again. So
you don't watch a whole series of it.
Yeah, like, but everything I've heard of it, I'm like, I will love this series in like 3 years when I finally get around to it.
What I can say is that it's a thing where you're watching it and you're going, my God, this is a Star Wars that very much understands the nature of authoritarian regimes and how...
Do you have to make Star Wars political?
And how revolutions start to form. And it treats those things seriously. And there's some just absolutely amazing moments in it. A recent one is there's one episode that has 2 great kind of speeches by 2 characters. One of which is Andy Serkis, who shows up not in a suit or in a mocap thing or doing a silly accent and just gets to just act his fucking ass off, and he's great. And yeah, it has your fan service in there where you go, wait, is that ship in the background? That ship? Ooh, that ship's that was a bit of concept art for like Star Wars in the 70s, and they finally put it in a live action thing. That's cool.
That is cool.
But also, it's just genuinely great. But it's like fucking grim at times.
I mean, it's going to be.
And on a lighter point, there was a thing in the most recent episode which came out today. I have no idea, as you said before, I'm not sure when this podcast will come out. Maybe depending on how long I sleep for after this, it might even come out tonight. Who knows?
Or maybe because I've been off my SSRIs for 6 months plus, that I'll actually have the executive function to do it.
Yeah, maybe.
Because I've actually been able to do things lately.
Yeah.
Because SSRIs... Okay, I am not a physician. I am not a medical professional. This is purely anecdotal. Like, no joke. I'm not fucking around. Like, seriously. This might even just be psychosomatic. But I have noticed that since I've come off my antidepressants, which are they can apparently severely enhance ADHD problems. Which, again, I have not been formally diagnosed with ADHD.
Not for trying.
Not going to get started on that again because I'm going to be mad. But I did notice that when I was up to 200 mils, I couldn't do anything. My executive dysfunction was crippling. And since coming off them, I have regained some executive function, which has helped my depression and my mental health a lot.
And you're on just different medication now?
Well, I'm not on any antidepressants.
No, you're on anti-anxiety meds.
I'm on beta blockers, propranolol, which is a as needed, up to a certain dosage a day, anti-anxiety medication.
It's what I also have.
Yes. Anyway, mental illness aside, let's go back to Andor, the super fun, happy, joy show.
Yeah, no, I was going to say, one thing I really, really appreciated in the most recent episode is something that I kind of didn't realise how much I didn't realise how much I'd appreciate
You
seeing
got to
it.
see Diego's butt.
No.
I mean Cassian's butt. Sorry.
No, it was a part that I won't spoil anything about it, but you know how in Star Wars there's this kind of thing that doesn't get talked about much, and when they do, they did it really badly in Solo, about how droids treated like fucking shit, even by heroic characters,
even though they're very obviously sentient,
feeling creatures. But are treated so throwaway to the point that sometimes it's kind of uncomfortable. There is a bit in the most recent episode of someone treating a droid with a degree of compassion that honestly was lovely, and it was that's just, I didn't know how much I needed to see that in this world because I'm so used to people just being shits to droids all the time.
Even when they're not, they are.
You just kind of accept it as a bit of a conceit of the universe that they just are going to be dickheads to droids, even though it's really messed up that they are.
Yeah.
And so, and yeah, I don't know. It was just like, oh, it's really nice to see that really made me happy to see that, even if the circumstances of how it happens are pretty not fun, but that was nice to see. Also, speaking of Star Wars, also, what was it? Tales of the Jedi that came out as well.
Yeah, I need to watch that, but I need to watch like Clone Wars.
Yeah, you can watch all of it except
please
for
interact.
you can watch all of them except for the last 2 episodes.
Yeah,
because
that's just around Little Ahsoka.
Because the early ones are different stories that are set pre-Clone Wars.
Yeah.
And the last couple are set after the Clone Wars.
You see, this. Okay, I think part of my reticence to watch Clone Wars isn't because I don't like Clone Wars, because Clone Wars is fucking great. It's really good. And holy shit, who knew Anakin actually had a fucking personality?
Certainly didn't in the movies.
George Lucas needs a rolled up fucking newspaper on that snout of his.
Yeah.
But like, it's like watching Andor. I know where that ends up. It's like, oh, Ahsoka's really good friends with Rex. Okay. I know what happens. And that's going to fucking this. It's like you know what I want? Pain. I want to hurt more. Hurt me more.
Those last 4 episodes of Clone Wars are so fucking good.
I know.
They're so fucking good.
I know, but
I get it.
I am afraid of hurt.
All I'll tell you is that
And I love Ahsoka.
Rex shows up in later series.
I know.
So,
But it's okay.
You know.
At the same time, contextually,
yeah.
fucking hell. Fucking hell.
But yeah, Tales of the Jedi's, again, it kind of weirdly grim, especially like with that and Andor, like both coming out at the same time. And it's like, oof.
We need a Star Wars series that's going to basically be She-Hulk, but with a male main character so people can like it.
I did watch She-Hulk as well, which is alright.
Sorry, I had to get my bite in there.
She-Hulk is
Yeah,
alright.
my teeth are still feeling fine, by the way.
It's not perfect, but it's fun enough. Does its job. It's occasionally great.
I love Tatiana Maslany so much. Massive fan of her from Orphan Black, where it was just like that woman carried an entire series for like, it was like 3 series, and then they just kind of they wrote themselves into a corner, and it started getting really fucking stupid, and I couldn't watch it anymore. Also, Michael Mando was the dickhead boyfriend for the first couple of seasons. Vic, which he just turned into a fucking punchline. It was hilarious. But yeah, and she played 4 different characters. Like 4+ characters.
Yeah, I was gonna say, 'cause I thought there was more clones than that.
There are more. And she did so fucking well. And honestly, she's a joy to watch.
Yeah, no, like, yeah. She-Hulk wasn't amazing or anything, but like I say, it had a few moments that were really quite fun. Yeah, and it was almost.
I just like Daredevil doing the Walk of Shame.
Daredevil doing the Walk of Shame was pretty great.
It's like, hey Matt, where you been, mate? What you been up to, Murdoch? You dirty boy.
That was pretty good. But yeah, so yeah, I was just saying, Tales of the Jedi, a little bit grim, but also kind of fills in a few little bits of detail from somewhere. Like, what the fuck ever happened to Yaddle? Oh, that's what the fuck happened to Yaddle.
Yeah, I saw it in the Star Wars subreddit, people being like, so, are we all in agreement that Yaddle made the biggest mistake in the entirety of the universe?
Yeah, pretty much. It's, but it's still good. I enjoyed it. Seeing Dooku
Fucking
go through his whole thing is neat to see. Moving on to the other big franchise with Star in the title. I've done a bunch of Star Trek stuff. Mainly played an absolute metric fuck ton of Star Trek Online.
Well, there was the Halloween event.
There was a Halloween event.
And
that is one thing I did.
At the beginning of Dungeons, you turn into a kitty.
I can turn into a cat now, yes. Because I did the Halloween event stuff.
Turn into a black kitty.
Yeah. I actually kind of understand the game a lot better now than when I played it years ago. I've actually spent some money on it.
I mean, the amount of hours you've pumped into it.
I played it for like 350 hours, chucking them a little bit of money to buy a ship that I wanted that gave me some fancy abilities. I'm like, yeah, sure, it's a free-to-play game, so, you know, I up to that point had literally got hundreds of hours out of it, so I'm like, yeah, you know what, I'm happy to spend it. I'm not happy to spend it. I want it for free. But, you know, I
mean, preferably,
Yeah.
I think most things should be free.
I could justify it.
Yeah.
But yes, I've been enjoying that. It does some fun stuff with some characters where it kind of gives them a bit of closure in ways I really like. I really enjoyed what they did with Seela's story arc. It's probably
Is
like...
that Tashiya's daughter?
Yes.
Yes. Haha, I know Star Trek.
I thought that was kind of it was nice. And it sort of did some stuff with Tashiya as well that was also kind of nice. Because her character went through some shit.
Because she literally dared to ask for a pay rise.
Pretty much.
How dare you! Tar monstered.
I think it was. I thought it was more that she basically said, "You're not doing anything with my character, so I'm done with this," and left.
I think maybe that I've heard tinklings of both.
I think I'm not saying for certain, but that did happen to a lot of other people. Whereas my understanding is that she was just sick of not having anything to do other than stand at the back of frame.
Data. Oh yeah, no, that too.
But yes, I've been having fun with that. Also got through. New series of Lower Decks. That was out. The whole of the third season of Lower Decks continues to be fucking great.
Love it.
Fucking great. There's an episode they go to DS9. Fucking amazing. And somehow, because the show is as good as it is, all of the fan service for DS9 was like a fun addition to the bit I really cared about in the episode, which was just stuff happening with the main cast, which I think is a way to use fan service that's great because it's not entirely reliant on that fan service. The fan service is almost incidental. Great. I think it's the first episode uses like fucking music from First Contact, and I was like, oh yeah, that's good shit. Lower Decks is great. Also watched finally got around to watching Strange New Worlds, the series which follows Captain Pike, the captain of the Enterprise before Kirk,
who I got your mum super thirsty about.
Anson Mount is a very pretty guy. Actually, just
see, like Longfrand, our dear friend Longfang, has been sending me pictures, and I'm like, he's fine. Who's the guy with the mustache in the background? And he literally went, Snipe, for fuck's sake, because that's like Kirk's brother, and I'm like, damn it! Still,
no,
respectfully, hello.
Really, Strange New World scratches the itch that Discovery wasn't able to, because Discovery is set in these very serialized things, so each season is an arc of X amount of episodes where they go from point A to point B, they tell a story. There's no room to have like one random episode be a filler episode because they're trying to tell one long story. There's no Planet of the Week stuff. Strange New Worlds is a Planet of the Week thing where they're just having Star Trek adventures, and because of that kind of format, there is overarching stuff that's happening, but each episode is pretty standalone. So they can have a body swap episode, they can have shenanigans episodes, and it's full of all the actors are like just pulling amazing jobs at being just really likable, and Pike's quarters are, so you know when you see something in a sci-fi and you go, oh, that'd be nice to go there, it looks so comfy and nice. Pike's fucking quarters are the most comfy, like cozy looking place. It's like retro futuristic with a fucking fireplace. It looks so cozy.
That's not quarters. That's a fuck pad.
Yeah, I want to. He's got like a kitchen, where
he could pour you some white wine.
Like having like meetings with his officers, and he's like making them breakfast.
Oh my god!
It's such a cozy show. I fucking love it. And then it'll have an episode that absolutely gut punches you. Oh, it's great. Strange New World's fucking amazing. I also did watch season 4 of Discovery, and I want to say, because I remember I've been going through each season of Discovery on this podcast, and I started off really not liking it, and I slowly warmed up to it.
Every Star Trek's first season is a bit fuck.
Apart from Strange New Worlds, it's just fucking amazing. Although, admittedly, it did kind of get its soft pilot in Discovery Season 2. So,
And was it bad?
I mean, the bits with them weren't, no.
No.
And I would like to report that since now we have Strange New Worlds do the Planet of the Week thing, and Discovery is set with being, we're gonna have each season be a season long arc, and that's what this one's gonna be. I'm happy to report that Discovery has now just become unambiguously, no caveats, fucking great.
Nice.
Like, season 4 is just great, and I was sitting there complaining that I wanted Planet of the Week episodes, but honestly, they wouldn't work in this.
Yeah, you did want Planet of the Week episodes, but you didn't realise you didn't want them in that show.
Yeah.
That's a good way to put that.
I mean, they could have done it, but because they're not doing the Planet of the Week, they're now, and they've got it set in a completely different thing, because spoilers for like 2 seasons ago, but there was a time jump like 1,000 years in the future. So now all the continuity stuff where they like were constantly making problems for themselves by painting themselves into a corner of like, oh, we're gonna like do things with like continuity that aren't just annoying, like, for, like, if you're going to be a nerd about it reasons, but, like, actively make things harder to explain and work around. They just went, no, fuck it, we're just setting it 1,000 years in the future, we're just making our own fucking show now. And, yeah, it's completely settled into...
Best way to live.
The ending of season 4 is... the sort of, like, the only way I can describe it is it's the sort of thing that you got in, like, the TOS era movies, but, like, with the kind of scope that is allowed by modern kind of special effects and stuff. And it's just really cool. And,
on Discovery, I'm sure it is because you've watched it and you wouldn't do anything else. Can you now watch that in the UK? Or is it still weird?
Yeah, you have to have Paramount Plus to watch it now.
Okay, but you can get that in the UK now. Because for a time, you couldn't legally watch it in the UK, and it was like, what do you want from us?
Which is why I'd like to thank our sponsor today, Surfshark. No, we're not sponsored by them. Surfshark, give us money, though.
Oh, we have been offered things by several VPNs over the years, and
I forget... like 800 of them, and it's like, it's either that or Squarespace or fucking Patreon suppliers, so, you know.
And only one of those we had to tell to stop fucking emailing us.
Yeah, we
Guess
have to be like...
but anyway, yeah, no, Discovery has now just become unambiguously good, genuinely fucking great season 4. That, along with the Lower Decks being great and Strange New Worlds being great, it's a good time to be a Star Trek fan.
Oh my god, fucking don't say it too loud, they'll hear you.
Like, I've even watched a bit of Prodigy, which is the kids show they made recently. Doesn't feel necessarily very Star Trek-y. I've seen some people say it actually feels more like Clone Wars-y, and I kind of get that.
That's not a negative.
It's not a negative. I need to watch more of it because I've only watched the first 2 episodes to give a full summation, but that seems pretty decent. And since I'm the one person that did not hate Picard season 2, like, for me, I'm happy.
I don't know. The pilot was in there, so how could you hate it? He was wow.
A
very good character. Love that character. My favorite character. Love him.
Good times in Star Trek land for me.
Yeah.
Also, speaking of things that I've been a lifelong fan of, I played through the remake of Final Fantasy VII, or more accurately, the part 1 of it, because it's being released as like 3 games.
I just want to get to Sid. He's my favorite.
What do you think?
Well, so I went into it, and I knew I didn't like the combat system very much because Final Fantasy VII is my favourite game of all time. So, it not being a turn-based game, it being a kind of real-time kind of... like, you go in and you slice and you dodge and you block, and then you pull up a menu to cast spells and do special actions and stuff. It's the sort of hybrid thing they've been doing with Final Fantasy for a while, and I'm not a huge fan of. I kind of would prefer more straight action game or more turn-based, but of the ones I've played that have used it, this has been a smooth, this one of the smoother applications of it. And because I knew I wasn't really a fan of it, I just set it on the easier combat modes and was just like, fuck it, I'm just going to go through because I just want to see how they manage the story. And the answer was generally pretty great. They fleshed out.
I just like it how they gave Cloud a personality, they gave Ares a personality.
Yeah.
Like they actually, like, I always hated Ares because she was literally cardboard. She was the anime perfect girl in the way that she never had anything bad to say. She was so agreeable and was a nice, quiet little girl. And you know what I mean? It was just like, not to say that there's anything wrong with that, but when every single character is that, it's a bit fucking tedious. Even when they're supposed to be a big badass like Tifa. Tifa didn't have much more personality. But, like, yeah, and that was one of my biggest problems with it, is that the characters were a bit cardboard. Apart from Sid, who was perfect in every regard, and I am not taking any criticism or questions on that. I have a type, okay?
No, they've really fleshed out a lot of the characters in ways that I quite like. Like,
Cloud, seriously, it's well done.
Cloud is a bit more engaged with things around him because he's kind of in the original, he's quite aloof for such a big portion of the game. And they show a lot more cracks in that earlier on.
Well, he's more apparently got PTSD, so that's
yeah,
you know.
And Ares has got a bit more bite to her, which just makes her a much more interesting character.
I love Ares. Aerith.
Oh yeah, they've officially, even in the English version, she is Aerith now. But I am old, so I still will call her Ares all the time. I can't help it. I'm sorry. And yeah, so there's a lot of like story things they've changed or expanded, and without giving any spoilers if you have not played it, they have pretty firmly established by a thing that happens as you escape Midgar. Because spoilers, you escape Midgar in Final Fantasy VII, a game from 1997.
Some people weren't born then.
I know, and that is terrifying to me. But they basically...
Like me, I was like 3 years old when the game came out.
Yes, I'm sure.
Wow.
But yeah, they established that all bets are off as regards of what they will change.
To be fair, they did change the market quite a bit. But
War Market is radically different.
And honestly, I'm kind of glad, because that could have been really fucking gross.
It could get real dicey, and they just made it. They fucking knocked it out the park.
There's literally a scene with like the owner of the Honeybee Inn with Cloud that I was giggling with sheer delight about. It was, honestly, I love it.
There is also a part that I will give one joke away that is in the game because I fucking love it, which is when Tifa encounters Cloud in when he's snuck in to
when he's dressed up as a lady,
when he's all in his nice dress, and she realizes that it's Cloud. She's like, "Wait, Cloud, you're..." And Cloud just responds, "Yeah, nailed it, I know, moving on."
Yeah, he's like, "Oh yeah, no, looking great, nailed it, I know, thank you, moving on." And it's just like, that, oh my god, Cloud, is that a personality?
Cloud just having a bit more of a again, its characters kind of having a bit more banter with each other, which, because it's fully voiced, that's something it's a lot harder to do in text, and especially text and translated. At a time when games didn't get quite as much lavish localization as they do now.
Yeah.
So, you know, it's certain, and you know, just certain things that they were able to bring in from the old, like things you just don't expect. Like, oh, that enemy type was fucking weird. What the hell was the Hell House? And not only do they bring the Hell House back, they make it a fucking feature.
They make it a feature where other people watching the fight are actively going,
what the fuck
it's
is
a
this?
fucking house?
You are fighting a house!
And then, like, an hour later, you're walking through, like, the fucking town, and someone who knows what happened in that fight turns around and goes, I'm sorry, you're saying that they fought a house? And it's like, that's the funniest fucking thing
Yeah, really nice.
I've ever seen.
Really nice remixes of songs, new music as well that fits in really well. I will say it's wild that there were in the whole game. Like there's things that because I have nostalgia for the old game. There's some parts that like I kind of prefer in the old game, some parts I prefer in the new game, and like overall I still like the original better. But also,
I mean, it's going to be really difficult.
Too much nostalgia, too much bias in there to fairly judge them. But weirdly, the one part that I thought unambiguously the old game did better is specifically the cutscene where, spoilers for the next 15 seconds if you haven't played it, where the plate is dropped on Sector 7. And in the original, that is done without music.
It is quite shocking.
And you just see it dropped on the people, and it's like this very grim thing, and it pans up to President Shinra observing the mass death he has just caused dispassionately as you hear that he is listening to music. He's just listening to some classical music as it goes off. And that's it's always struck me as like a point where they were like, no, you're going to recognize how fucked up what just happened is. In the remake, it has action music to it, and then it's for some reason, the goofiest character in the game comes in and kind of has a why, God, why moment, and you're like, not the time for that. So it's just weird how that moment was handled better in the older game, I felt, despite having much less access to technology to make it good. And I don't know, it was weird that was one part, but like in nearly every other regard, when they did something that was handled the same kind of way, the new one was able to, use modern technology to tell the story a bit more effectively. And at the very least, there's a lot of stuff where it's, there's now my headcanons for things in the original game.
OT3.
Like that, yes, Ares, Tifa, and Cloud
are in an OT3. They're in a poly relationship, and they all love each other very much, and it's beautiful.
Like there was a few parts in like where I saw people talking like before I played it, where they're going like, so Ares and Tifa have got a thing, right? And I'm like, it's just shipping. People do that. Like it doesn't mean there's anything in the game.
Well, it's like these two characters were seen wearing drinking the same beverage. They're fucking, which is like I used to care a lot back when I was an insufferable fucking idiot. I don't anymore. Because
just people having fun.
Just people having fun. Whatever, doesn't matter.
But after playing it, I was like, it's not the intention. I know it's not the intention.
But damn if that don't come across like that.
But there are a couple of bits in the game where I'm like, actually, I kind of see where they are coming from interpreting it like that. But anyway, yeah, it's good. I enjoyed it a lot. I'm a little bit pissed off that the next one
doesn't have a release date.
Is coming out in, I think, 2024 sometime? Or late 2023?
Yeah.
Oh, bloody hell. It's been out a while as well. It's not like it's only just...
A couple of years, yeah. I mean, to be fair, it did take me like 30 hours to beat this one, so it's not like they're short. Bearing in mind, it takes about 40 hours to beat Final Fantasy VII, and 100% it. So, there's a lot of content in this one installment. But yeah, the next one's not coming out for a while, and also is a PS5 exclusive, at least to begin with. And I'm not buying a fucking PS5, A, because I wouldn't even know where to fucking find one, and B, are there still supply problems with the PS5? I don't know.
Who knows?
But I'm not buying a whole PS5 for one game. That is not happening.
I'm not doing that for one game, and I already have an unbearable weight of massive talent machine. I don't need another one.
The PS4 finally pulling its weight by letting me play Final Fantasy VII. But yeah, so yeah, it's going to be a PS5 exclusive. Hopefully, it will get a PC port at some point, which is probably how I'm going to eventually play it. Like probably 2 years after that. So I'm basically going to be waiting until like 2026 to play the next installment or some shit. So that's annoying. But yeah, that aside, I really enjoyed the remake. Yeah, it's good. What else have I done? I played a lot of Satisfactory because
I still haven't played it.
Because you're a fake gamer.
I am, absolutely. And I don't even know if I count as a fake game anymore because I don't even claim it anymore.
Wow, you're not even a gamer anymore.
No.
When was the last time you even said a racial slur? Fuck gamers.
All I'm going to say, Matt, is that I spent several hours yesterday figuring out the finer points of train signalling in Satisfactory. So, so that I could automate a multi-train system.
Satisfactory.
It was indeed very.
Anyway, both of you just stop being so fucking English for 5 minutes, please. It's killing me.
I've been talking for way too long.
I'm about to get colonized again.
I have been talking for way too long.
Yeah.
So, Matthew, please tell me what you have been doing in the last quarter of a year since we recorded the podcast.
No, don't say it like that because I've been racking my brains trying to think of something.
And also, don't say it like that because, sorry, I've got cancer. Oh, yeah, seeing as one of us is sick, like a fucking nerd.
I was more just putting a lot of pressure on Matt. It was more my vibe.
Sounds good. Let's do it.
Yeah.
Drama Matt, how fucking dare you?
Yeah, I know. So I've thought of a few things. Not much. Really. Seemingly, our go-to thing at the moment with not getting much sleep is like we'll just about get everything to a calm evening state, and we'll just then sit down and eat loads of chocolate and go to bed really early. And that's basically
opposite of a problem.
Feels like we're like preparing to hibernate or something. I don't know.
Yeah, you'll get building up that plug.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
I hate
delicious.
That, you know?
Yeah.
I hate knowledge.
We've done a few things though. First off, you'll be very glad to know that you've timed this podcast recording very well because the off finished last night, so therefore it's all been and gone. So I'm not going to really go on about that. Apart from it was kind of crap this year.
The large colonizing oven removal. I'm words.
You were trying to use synonyms.
Synonym.
So you wouldn't have to say the title and.
Were they making synonym rolls?
Bleep it out.
Yeah, because
we were literally talking about this like a week ago, and how I was just like, this is one of my favorite jokes ever because it makes no fucking sense. It's pointless and stupid, and that's my humor, apparently. But yes.
But yeah, that's been gone. Oh, we did watch The Sandman. Did you watch Sandman? That's a relatively new thing that we can talk about.
I did watch Sandman. It was very good.
Yeah. We watched the first few episodes and we're like, this is kind of crap. It was like kind of cheesy, but not in like a fun way. We found it. I think spoilers, by the end of it, we really enjoyed it. So I can justify saying this because without getting hate from people who like it.
I mean, Gwendolyn Christie is a fucking like queen, and I would
absolutely
happily watch anything with her in because she's incredible.
But I think up until because what episode was it that she was in, or like the main one with when he like goes to hell? It was like halfway through or something ish.
Yeah, it's a few episodes.
Yeah, because even up until that point, we were watching that and we're like, this is just a bit weird, and we just couldn't. I don't know if we just couldn't get on the same like page as it, or couldn't quite get. I don't know. It felt kind of cheesy and naff.
I do understand. There is a certain vibe to it that I feel you do kind of have to like key into its wavelength a little bit, and I think it does take a little bit to do that at the start. And
even up until that point, like the fight that they have in that, where it's just like they're just playing like top trumps or whatever, and just saying my number's big. Oh, this is a big. It was number wang. I think I put it on Twitter. They were basically playing visual number wang.
Yeah, they are. Yeah,
they're just saying random things, and then the other one says another random thing that beats it, and then the other one says a random thing until one of them decides to not say any more random things. Like. It just like we were watching. Like, what is this?
I have a dinosaur that eats force-filled dogs.
Yeah, exactly. It was just like, but it wasn't done in like a. I don't know. There'd be quite a sort of fun way they could have done that. And it wasn't. It was like done like trying to be all serious and emotional, and it was just such a silly thing. I don't know. Up until about that point, and I don't know what changed when it got to the sort of second half of the series. And I don't know if the series sort of it felt like the vibe changed, but I don't know if that's true or whether we sort of got onto its page and got up to speed with it. I don't know, but by the end of it, we really enjoyed it. And now looking back at it, my like memories of having watched it are like really good and thinking, oh, that was a really good series. But I definitely have distinct memories of watching the first, being like, well, I suppose we should carry on just to see what happens, but like we're not really enjoying it. I don't know. It was really interesting one, and I can't work out why, so I can't really talk about it. If that makes sense.
I do 100% understand that. I didn't like when watching it. I didn't have quite as strong a feeling of like.
Well, it wasn't like we weren't hating it. We were watching it. We were just sort of like, well.
I mean, I was enjoying it. Like I was engaged to watch each episode, but I 100% get what you mean. That there is some getting used to it. Although I don't know if you know, what I find really interesting is that each episode is an adaptation of an individual comic book. So it's
well, that's we kind of we got that a bit. So hence why,
which is why its structure is a little unusual because it means they'll have like a couple of episodes that are like this is a contained story, and then there'll be a couple of episodes that are another contained story that can sort of be watched in isolation if you want. It's interesting.
I enjoyed the last two. What we enjoyed is right at the end of the series is like bonus episodes that aren't really related.
OVAs.
Because we knew it was based on a comic. We're like, quite often comics just do that. They just go off and do something else just for the fuck of it. I don't know. But if you were watching it not knowing it was a comic and you were just watching it as if it was like a new TV series and then saw these like bonus episodes that are completely unrelated at the end, we were just picturing people watching it and be like, why is there cats? What the fuck is happening?
If I remember correctly, the way that was released is that basically the series was done and everyone was like, the last episode was good, and then they were like, oh, surprise, there's one more episode.
Yeah, but double surprise, it's not about the series that you've been watching.
Yeah, they were like, it's just stuff that wouldn't fit in the series, but we wanted to make. So here, have an extra episode of just a couple of like one-off stories. And it's like, oh, fun. And I knowing that's what it was going into, obviously I wasn't like confused by it, so I knew exactly what it was. But it's like, oh, that's an interesting way to do things. It's like a bonus feature almost.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, right. If you had it on DVD, that'd be on the like second disc.
Yeah.
Or however that used to work, I can't even remember. we ended up really enjoying it. Although I'm intrigued to see, because they've said that they're going to do another series.
Well, it's shitloads of comics, so
I'm intrigued as to if it sort of continues on that trajectory and we can sort of go into it enjoying it as much as we got into it, if that makes sense.
Yeah. Can I ask for your personal description of the expression that the character of Dream has throughout the series?
Cat's arse.
You see, I also went with
He's got the sort of pouty, like, I don't know, it was weird. Like, I know in the comic they've got to go for the look, because the look in the comic, I didn't read the comics, but it's Robert Smith, but it's such an iconic look.
Yeah,
they couldn't completely go away from it because everyone would kick off. But the way that they sort of half did it, but it didn't do it too much, he just looks like a bit emo, but not like interesting. I don't know. I think that's one of the reasons why. That's genuinely one of the reasons why it took us a little while to get into it, because it sort of looked a bit like, I don't know, childish. That's not quite the right word I'm looking for.
I think I know what you mean.
But he's like, yeah.
My description of him that I gave was also cat's arse based, but it was that I said that his expression looks like a cat has just farted in his face, and that's the expression he's pulling like 90% of the series. It's a weird show, isn't it? It's a weird show.
But
it's good.
I do really enjoy it.
It is good. It is flawed, but it is good. And for some reason, when you think about how much you enjoyed it, you kind of just forget about the things that are a bit rough about the first couple of episodes. That's just apparently a thing the show has, on us at least.
Yeah. What else have we done? Oh, went to see Coheed. Went to see music.
Fucking
It was
nice.
fun. I know they're just I say this purely because if anyone's it's not because if you like Coheed, you really fucking like Coheed, and if you don't, you're not interested. So I don't know who I'm selling this to, but if anyone's on the fence about seeing them live. For some reason, just go and do it if you can.
It's like,
they're great.
oh yeah, I saw Rammstein live. They were fine. No one's ever fucking said that. No one.
Although it was a weird. You'll find this interesting. It was a very weird gig because it was a co-headline with Thrice, which was great. Get to see Thrice too.
Oh,
cool. Haven't
okay.
thought about in the nicest way for like 15 years.
Yeah,
but great. I remember songs from my youth. That's fine. Great. In the UK, it was a co-headline. So basically, in the UK, Coheed happened to be playing last, but they weren't headlining, strictly speaking, even though they were in practical terms. They were saying that they weren't because they were putting it as like an even billing thing. And in mainland Europe it was the other way around, and Thrice were playing last and Coheed there, but for presumably contractual reasons they both had an hour-long set, which is a little bit disappointing. Usually when you see a Coheed, that if you see a headline band of like a
you've got a good amount.
I mean like an academy type size venue, they usually have a good long set.
I mean, depending on what they're playing, that could be just 6 songs. So
I mean,
yeah.
But they got to the end of their set, and it was like they started at like I can't remember the exact times now because this was like 2 months ago now. But they started at like they started at 9, I think, and then they were due to finish at. They started at like I can't remember. Anyway, they played their hour-long set, and it finished, and it was like 9:45, and we were like, okay, well maybe there's a 10 o'clock because quite often O2 academies have a 10 o'clock curfew because they've got like club night starting at 10:30 or 11, and they need to get everyone out by then. So we're like, okay, 10 o'clock, that's fine because I get to get home without being too late. That's great. As it finished at 1:45, we're like, okay, great, they'll go off and then they'll come back and it'll be the encore. And then music started happening, but not. We were like, for a little bit, we were like, okay, this is like just filler thing, and then we're like, no, this is just a playlist that's playing. That's a bit weird. Then the lights turned on. At this point, no one's left because everyone's waiting. It's 9:45. It's a headline band. Obviously, there's going to be an encore because that's just how gigs are. If you've never been to a gig before, it's just
every time it's
I don't
illegal
know,
not to have an encore.
Yeah, like it's just
We've
such
had
a thing.
encores.
But there wasn't an encore.
What?
And it was super awkward. So everyone's there. The lights turn back on. A couple of people start to leave, but obviously most people don't, especially because Coheed fans are, they're intense.
Yes.
And it got to the point where everyone was chanting for so long and refused to leave. They had to. You saw like Claudio just poke his head out the stage door, and then go back. And then there was another few minutes, and we're like, okay, this is getting a bit awkward now. The crowd are getting a little bit tetchy. What is happening? And then the whole band had to come out and basically say, we're really sorry. This is a co-headline tour, so we're not headlining, so therefore we can't do an encore.
Oh, that's so fucking
because
awkward,
of presumably
dude.
some awkward contractual agreement that they didn't want either band to seem like they were headlining more than the other band, and you can't have an encore if you're the main support or the earlier one. So then they whoever the management or whoever arranged it must have set it up whoever happens to be playing last and second last still doesn't properly headline. But it was so awkward because they couldn't just send someone else out because everyone wouldn't have left. So they had to awkwardly wander out themselves and apologised for not doing an encore. And it was super awkward and really weird.
You see, what they should have done is
said that immediately. It's thank you, sorry, we don't have an encore, but we love you. Mwah.
They should have done what one time. I think it might have been. I think we might have all seen him on that one. This one, but when Streetlight Manifesto went on, played one song and said, "That's it for us tonight," then walked off stage, and then the rest of their set was technically their encore.
Streetlight, seeing that, okay, they're great. They're not my favourite band, but they are incredibly good at what they do. They're very good showmen. And they literally can't play a gig without actively fucking with the audience on some kind of psychological level.
Yeah.
Literally, there's a part in a song where it's an acoustic guitar breakdown, and the fucking lead singer just making that last for 8 extra bars because
it's the pause.
Fuck you.
It's the pause in a moment of silence. That is a random amount of time often.
Yeah, didn't he start playing Smells Like Teen Spirit during one of them?
The first time I saw them
prick.
at Junction 7 in Nottingham.
Good venue, R.I.P.
he started playing "Smells Like Teen Spirit" in the middle of a song, and everyone started losing their shit. And then he just stopped and going, "Sorry, I just wanted to see how you'd react," and then carried on playing the actual song.
Literal fucking cave trolls.
The song it's one of their songs. It has like a big, beautiful brass intro, and they always play it intentionally out of tune.
They do just fuck with the audience.
If they're really good musicians, that's really hard to intentionally play out of tune with each other. Like that's really technically like challenging, and yet they just do it to presumably confuse people. Because
I've seen them introduce introduce one of their own songs as a cover, and the cover as their new song.
Yeah.
Like
again, trolls to the fucking end.
Yeah. But anyway, Kohi Gig was really weird.
Yeah,
It left like a weird, like everyone went home and I was like looking around online because I was like, did that just happen? And it left such a weird vibe. So yeah, weird one, but I mean, still really good. And it obviously wasn't their fault because they were just told they're not allowed to do this. But yeah, very weird gig.
No.
What else? Oh, we played a board, well, mostly card game, which I thought I'd just put a little recommendation out because it was really fun. It's called Hanabi. I don't know how you pronounce it.
Hanabe?
Possibly. I don't know where it's like originally from or inspired by, so I don't know if it's meant to be.
How is it spelled?
Hanabi.
Hanabi sounds right. But I mean, I don't fucking know.
Depends where it's from.
I am not the arbiter of language yet. Give me. It's just
you check that out, and I'll just go through the very. I won't go into much detail, but I thought it was really interesting. You're basically trying to. You all have a hand of cards each. And it's not a normal deck. It's like a fireworks deck. There's like 5 different colours rather than 4 suits, and there's cards number 1 to 5 of each. And there's only 1 number 5, 2 number 3s and 4s, and 3 number 1s and 2s. So like 1s and 2s are more common.
Yeah.
And basically all you need to do is you start putting down number 1 of each colour on the board in front of you, and then build it up to 5, and you win if you get all the way to 5. But you don't know what card you have. Your hand is facing away from you.
Okay.
And everyone else at the table knows what you have, but you don't. And on your turn, you can either put a card down, well, not looking at it, so you're just guessing, or you can give a clue and you can tell one of the other people that card is a number 3, or those cards are blue. Or so you can't say both, you can just say one or the other. And by the clues that you give to the people, you have to let them sort of know what cards they have to play. But it's like gets really deep because you can't just. There's not enough time because if you run out of cards that you're drawing, and if you can't do anything, the other thing you can do is. Oh, if you play something down but you can't go, so if you put a white 3 down and the white 2's not already down, it's like you can't put it down, and that's like you've lost a life and you only have 3 lives. So you don't want to just guess to put down. So the only other thing you can do is to like discard, but there's only a certain number. If you discard a valuable card, you're stuck. So you've got to sort of give people like clever clues to try and give them hints as to what they've got and what order to play things. And it was just quite different to a lot of other games we've played, and thought it was quite good. And it's only like a tenner or something because it's like there's like 30 cards in the deck and a couple of tokens. There's nothing to it. But we really enjoyed it, so I thought I'd just give a little recommendation if anyone's looking for a quick, interesting card game.
Cool.
That's cool.
Reminds me, we did play Muffin Time, actually.
Oh, did you? How is it?
It's chaotic as fuck, and it's very fun.
I expected the chaotic as fuck bit.
I did very well when it's if a player can't doesn't know your full name, and I'm like, it was great.
Isn't it like the rules like evolve as you go through and you make up new rules or something?
There's a lot of synergy. And it's very fun and cool.
Yeah, there's a lot of very fun things. Yeah, if you don't know, it's like kind of a party card game, and it's all about like
you have to the win condition is you have 10 cards in your hand for the entirety, like for your turn, and then the next time it gets to your turn, and then you win.
And you lay down like trap cards and various things. It's a lot of fun. Yeah.
It is very fun, and like after like a couple of rounds, you really get into the flow of it. It's quite easy to pick up.
Okay, yeah,
it's quite good.
Nice. Did you play it in person or did you play it on?
Yeah, I played it in person. Yeah,
nice.
The board game cafe.
Also played Hero Quest.
The best thing about Hero Quest,
which is pretty great,
is the fact that we picked up a weapon rack and it was basically the extra party member.
There was some house ruling going on to allow for some shenanigans, but yeah, no, I never played Hero Quest because obviously we played Space Crusade a few times, but yeah, Hero Quest is good, but it is not our segment. So Matthew, finish your.
Ah, yes. Oh, my very last one is a question for, well, I guess both of you, but I think mostly Snipe.
Everything you saw that in those videos of mine was legal in the countries in which they were filmed. So.
Okay. Well, enough said then.
Yeah.
No.
What were you going to ask, just so everyone else knows?
Have you seen the possibly not quite so recent, but relatively recent, considering this podcast, news about the Witcher TV series?
I have.
Oh yeah,
there are
recasting.
There's a lot of very angry, tedious people. Because okay, I'm going to say this, and this might get me in trouble. Henry Cavill is just a guy, and I'm fucking sick of his deification because he knows what Warhammer 40k is. It's fucking tedious. Just because a big, handsome, fucking, like, studly, like, well-hung do-right dude, whatever, fucking knows what Warhammer 40k is.
He's not our... Than we know.
Well, we dated for a bit. And also, he's not even that good at sex, and his omelettes are shit. No, he seems like a cool guy, but, like, at the same time, it's like... it's just... The man is English. Of course he's played 40k. This is not unusual. It is a fucking institution. Get back on my phone.
It is fine.
It's fine. It's not a thing that actually makes me angry, but yeah. There's been some rumblings of one of the Hemsworths being replaced.
Yeah,
replacing him and
Liam
whatnot.
Hemsworth, I think. Yeah. I can never remember which one's which.
Which is funny because, you know,
people,
there's a bunch of people sitting there going, he's too skinny, and I'm like, have you even fucking read the books?
No one has.
Have you even fucking played the games?
That was what I was intrigued to see your response on, because, like, didn't Henry Cavill leave because it wasn't following the books and he was bored of fighting it?
I don't know.
That's what I read. I don't know if this is rumour or if this is what he said, but what I heard was that he left because he's basically spent the last two series pushing for it to be more like the books, and the producers keep pushing it to be not. And he just got fed up of it being different from the books. I
will say, the books are fine. It's like, okay, this is very relatable for all listeners. It's like Sailor Moon. Right?
Yep.
The manga was a good start, but ultimately it was the anime that made it good. And I'm going to say the same with the books and the games. The games made it good. I mean, not that it was bad, it's just it was a little bit misogynistic, a little bit shitty, a little bit weird, viciously like pro-choice, which Sapkowski is a sack of shit, but he was very pro-choice. And he puts that in his stories quite a bit, which is pretty cool. But the games, they were made by people who are obsessive about it. And honestly, I think their love for it made it better. Because Sapkowski literally just sold them the rights to make a game. Because he was like, oh, these video games are stupid and fleeting. They're shit. It's never going to be as good as my books. I want to make a quick buck. And has been engaging CD Projekt Red in legal battles and trying to get more money out of them and whatnot. So he's a piece of shit. Not saying CD Projekt Red is much better, but...
yeah, wow, there's a company that burned through its goodwill in
about a week.
In a rate that you sit there and you go, wow, it took like a decade to take the shine off Valve. But CD Projekt Red managed it in like a week.
Yeah, they really... honestly, if they'd have been trying, I don't think they could have been more expedient. Like fucking speed run to hated any percent. But yeah, no, I don't mind the thing that... like, I don't mind they cast Henry Cavill. I'm not particularly interested in watching the TV series. Just for whatever reason, I'm like,
Sometimes you get that. I think it also because
it's not that I dislike it or I think they shouldn't have done it. I'm just kind of like, yeah, that's fine. I've seen a lot of people get a lot of enjoyment out of it, and I think that's really cool. No,
not at all.
I just don't really care. I don't know why.
I thought you had.
No, I've obsessively played the games.
Yeah. That's why I assumed you'd watch the show.
I think they're coming out with like a remaster or something like that of The Witcher 3, and if you already own it, you get it for free.
Oh, cool.
Which is okay. Getting a little bit of that goodwill back. Still got a long way to go. But yeah, no, I don't mind. I occasionally come across it in the subreddit of people just being fucking children about it. and there's a lot of people being
Read
like,
as all subreddits.
yeah.
Yeah.
Apart from basically the trans ones I hang out on, where like you can, exist. But yeah, no, I'm. It's gonna be interesting to see what comes out of that, because there's been so much fucking like gossip and weirdness and shit like that, and I'm like, oof.
I don't know. Maybe it's just because because media's changed a lot in even just our lifetimes, and like. To me, a character getting recast is just a thing that happens sometimes.
It's
so
just because it hasn't happened in a while. It's not something that happens very often.
It's like we're all used to James Bond getting recast all the goddamn time.
Yeah.
And that's just like, we just accept that as like a conceit of the thing. Although, admittedly, that has a somewhat more knotty canon than any given TV show. But yeah, it's one of those things like, oh yeah, sometimes people get recast. I will say the reason I heard for him leaving, but I also have not looked it up, and it's just what I heard, was that because he's gone on to do, he signed on to actually do more Superman stuff.
Apparently that is false.
Is it?
Yeah, apparently. I have seen a few articles coming out. I was like, that's just Again, it's people are being quite... They're being quite screamy and panicky and weird about it.
So it's a lot of people guessing.
Yeah, I mean, to be fair, like around The Witcher, people get like they get very passionate. There's a joke in the gaming circle jerk subreddit, which is basically they sit there and they make fun of the gamer hysteria, and like, oh, there's a woman in GTA, but because children mentally or physically play those games, they're like, I don't want to play as a girl, that's gay, which is bad. They've put like a guy in there that you can play as, like in Assassin's Creed Unity, because they didn't have the balls to have just a female main character.
Which one was Unity?
The one in London, where they're all like, tally-o, China, fucking Mary Pip, my good bitch.
Is that what you think we sound like?
That's what you sound like, yeah.
It's
either London or Yorkshire. There is nothing in between.
Have I ever said Tally Pip?
You just did. Fucking got him. Fucking Lamau. I couldn't even be bothered.
Yeah, that was much low effort. Blah, 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 blah.
Me? Low effort?
Until I just did it now.
Yeah, well, there's a lot of things coming out about you. You're going to get cancelled on the gaming subreddit. But yeah, people are very... It's like, I remember anytime there's a thread in like our gaming, which I have unsubscribed from a long time ago. Trust me, Jesus Christ, you'll be happier. It's like, post your most unpopular gaming opinion, and I'll go, Fallout shit, and then I get downvoted and I get DM'd death threats, and I'm like, hello, could you read the title of the thread? And also, fucking sending someone death threats because I think Fallout 3 is fucking wank. Okay.
Fallout 3 is shit.
That's the thing. It's like, if you love it, it's kind of...
New Vegas is great.
The Witcher is kind of a sacred cow. Yeah. And people get fucking het up and real heated about it. I'm a big Witcher fan, but I get it's not going to be everyone's cup of tea. And I get that, like, it's going to be like, people are going to probably just be fans of the show.
Oh, and, yeah.
And it's like, and it's transcending... medium is tricky.
Well, whenever you've got something that exists in multiple mediums, you're going to have people that only like one of them.
And that's like totally fine. Cool, and I don't give a shit.
There'll be loads of people that really like the Castlevania series who've never played any of the games.
To be fair, the Castlevania series is that whips dick. It's incredible. It's fantastic, and I love it.
I am burdened with the unfortunate opinion that I like Castlevania 1, and then every time I play the objectively better later games, I'm like, well, I just like the first one.
But anyway,
I'm Marge with the potato, but it's Castlevania 1.
Yeah, that's fair. But yeah, it's Drama Matt section. So those are my opinions on The Witcher. What about you?
I mean, I watched the first couple of episodes and just couldn't get into it, and then stopped.
I have a feeling.
I just thought, remembered in my head. I misremembered you watching it, and I thought you'd have an opinion on the casting thing.
Did you
topical
just
news as of who knows whenever that happened?
Did you just watch it because Henry Cavill is pretty?
I mean, it helps.
Yeah, so if you want to watch a pretty man, then go for it. Also, he's in like Enola Holmes 2, and it's just weird seeing him. Whoa!
Yeah, we What?
That genuinely frightened me.
We have now found the thing that frightens you most.
Enola Holmes 2.
People having watched Enola Holmes 2.
It's just so English. He looks like if Hulk Hogan was a floppy Englishman, and the way that he's a muscular Englishman.
Yeah.
You know.
I'm gonna say that sounds like that might be the worst descriptor for anything I've ever heard.
I told you he's my ex and I hate him. Not Hulk Hogan, but I was never that desperate.
I mean, also Hulk Hogan, but that's another story.
Oh, I mean, also, yeah, I dated Hulk Hogan for a bit in college, but that's beside the point, okay? His omelets are even worse.
Yeah.
I will not sleep with someone unless they make me an omelette, and if it's terrible, I'll probably fuck you. And just so I have evidence that you're bad at something.
As your husband, I have many questions that we do not have the time to answer right now.
Okay, I'll tell you what. Questions on a postcard.
Okay.
Yeah.
I'll go outside, mail it, and wait for it to get delivered.
Just go outside and put it through the door. Wait a couple of seconds. Pick it up and go, oh.
You've got to go through the mail. It's not a proper postcard if you don't do that.
For fuck's sake. No, you don't have to do that.
And look, if I'm going to do it, I'm going to do it properly.
No,
anyway, Matt, it was at the end of your section.
Well, it's going to be, and then you mentioned Enola Holmes. No, I have nothing to say about it, apart from on my list of things to potentially talk about, or on my list of things that we've done, that was on there, but I thought it was so uninteresting I wouldn't put it in the podcast. Considering what else I've mentioned, it was fine. It was very fine, you know.
But one of my exes is in that movie.
Yeah, no, it was enjoyable for a couple of hours. It was fine, but I just had absolutely nothing to say about it.
I'm sorry, how fucking long? It was enjoyable for a couple of hours. How long is that movie?
I mean, a couple of hours. It was enjoyable for its entire run length.
But it was boring and terrible and you hate it.
Well, you know, it was entertaining. It was, you know, lowest common denominator mystery that's, you know, you guess the answer at the start sort of jobber.
Yeah, okay, spoilers for Enola Holmes. She's related to Sherlock Holmes.
For legal reasons, that might not be the case. It got complicated as to what they're allowed to use.
Oh, shit, okay.
I thought Sherlock Holmes was in the public domain.
Yes, but not when he has not. Let's see if I remember this right, because this was a controversy after the first Enola Holmes film.
Fucking hell.
The early books are in the public domain.
Oh shit! Yeah.
The later books, where he gets a bit more emotions, aren't in the public domain yet. So the people who own the rights, his estate, kicked off because in the film he's shown to be a bit emotional. And that's not part of the public domain bit of Sherlock Holmes, or some bullshit. I can't even remember.
So this is like how...
so I got jump scared by Enola Holmes 2 for no fucking reason.
So this is like how you can... like, Winnie the Pooh is in the public domain.
Provided they're not wearing a red shirt.
But not the Disney version. So if it's just the version that was in the original books, that's in the public domain.
I love
but
how
somehow
copyright
even
is there to
stupider.
defend the little man.
Because he's not even him wearing a different shirt or something stupid. This is just him having a slightly different... Yeah.
I'm going to say, I feel that really pushes the limits as to what can be constituted as intellectual property.
It strikes me as stupid as trying to copyright the word "the." You know what I mean? It's that kind of fucking just money grubbing pricks trying to just get anything they can.
And it's like, oh no, it's like, no, Sherlock Holmes is in the public domain, but you want to make good Sherlock Holmes? No, we've got a copyright on that.
Can you imagine being like, oh, if you make a good sci-fi, you have to pay me royalties? What? Fuck off. And that's why he's not going to be in The Witcher Season 3.
Yeah,
What, Sherlock Holmes?
Because he's Sherlock Holmes.
Yeah.
And can't make an omelette to save his life.
That makes sense. That makes sense. These are all facts, and I'm not just glossing over it so that we finally move on.
Yeah, go on, Snipe.
Oh, hi.
Hello. What have you been doing?
Well, not Henry Cavill, that's for sure.
No more.
not after the incident.
The omelette incident.
The great omelette incident with Henry Cavill.
Okay.
You know,
if that becomes the podcast title, people are going to be so disappointed when they get to this bit and be like, was that it?
You know what it's going to be? It's going to be, oh, Henry Cavill, I like that he knows what 40k is, and they're going to get to that part, get really mad at me, and then be like, wait, did Snipe fuck Henry Cavill? I'm like,
Look, I'm going to be fucking honest with you. If after 136 episodes of whatever the fuck this podcast is, and our absolutely inane naming concepts, I imagine that everyone listening is very used to the title making no sense, and then
sorry about the cum, Dad.
and then the title whizzing past them at some point, and them going, they really did name the whole podcast after that. Like, if someone has a problem with that,
oh, no,
like,
they've
bailed on this
angry.
podcast 100 episodes
They're
ago.
going to get angry at me for, like, not I was going to say not sucking Henry Cavill's dick, but I've apparently alluded to that anyway.
Yeah.
But to be fair, his omelettes suck more dick. So, what have I been up to? I've played one video game that I can remember, and I fucking loved it.
Ooh,
The
what was it?
Mortuary Assistant. I
it's a good
fucking love that game.
Right.
Now, this game is a horror game, a spoopy game, if you will, where you play a mortuary assistant. It's a very simple game where you get called in by the guy who owns the morgue, and it's like, I think you're ready for you to start taking on some of your own cases, which is super cool. So you go in, and he leaves a bunch of stuff for you, and there are 3 bodies, and this is like a everything is a shift. So you have your first shift is you go in and you have to prepare the bodies for burial or cremation or whatever.
One of the bodies can potentially be a clown.
That's the Halloween.
I just feel like mentioning that.
One of the bodies could be a clown of the Halloween update they did, which was actually super cool and fun. So you go in and, oh no, one of the bodies is possessed by a fucking demon. You know, standard, like, medical, like, you know, like...
Every doctor's dealt with it.
Every doctor who's ever dealt with a cadaver has had this problem. Long story long shirt for my story that I'm wearing. I'm wearing a long shirt. You show up and the phone rings and you look out the window and you see, like, this shadowy figure just oogling you. And your character starts freaking out because there's somebody else in the fucking, like, in the area who's spooking on you. That's horrible. And your boss is like, yeah, sorry, this is super awkward, but you've got a demon attached to you? And this will happen for the rest of your life. Sorry, but I have left some spooky shit there that means you can bind the demon to the body it's possessing and then burn it. You get one chance to burn the right body. So, you go through the kind of thing of, like, you take the body out of the cold storage, you put the eye caps on, you nail the jaw shut. I've streamed this game a lot, and I'll always tell people when I'm putting the eye caps in or if I'm nailing the jaw shut, because you basically get, like, it's like a pneumatic kind of stamp into the gum above the teeth so you can stitch the jaw. And that goes through people. Mm-hmm. So I always say, hey, kind of a bit fucky. And while you're doing this, random scary events will happen. Like, and they're really, really good. Like, they're not always, like, if you turn around and you see, like, a spooky creature, it's not where you'd think it would be. So, like, I was standing in the corner while I was waiting for my body to drain the fluids. Because you get a pump to drain the fluids. And you've got to cut open the carotid artery and kind of, like, put the tubing in and then turn the pump on so it gets all the gunk out. And I stand in the corner near the back, near the computer when that happens because I don't like the noise. And I'm just like, I've got my clipboard up and I'm checking what I've got to do next. And I just see it in the corner of my eye, under the desk, there's this fucking demon woman staring at me with a big grin. And I flip my fucking shit. Because that's terrifying. And then she kind of awkwardly crawls away, and I'm like, the fact that she didn't just vanish, she awkwardly crawled away, is somehow so much fucking scarier.
Isn't that like...
then, like, you'll be doing something, and you'll hear and you're like, oh, fuck off. And that'll be it. That'll be the scare. Or you'll hear, like, like a scrape or something. And it's just incidental noise that you could chalk up to just any old thing, but you know it's not.
There's lots of scares in it that are things that you might not notice as well. Like
You literally, when you're at the computer, because you need to log what do they call them? Distinguishing
marks on the
marks.
bodies,
Like, so if they've got any moles or scratches or abrasions or anything like that. Contact dermatitis, stuff like that. You put it on the computer. And while I was at the computer, there's like this guy that slowly pops, like this head slowly raises over the edge of the monitor, and I didn't notice, but fucking chat did, and they were like, Snipe, oh my god, did you see that? And I'm like, no, oh my god, I didn't see that.
there's a lot of distracting you with something while something is going off in your peripheral.
There's a lot of
vision.
feints. It's really, really cleverly done. Like, while I was using a trocar to basically turning the cadaver into a human Capri-Sun and sucking out a bunch of stomach stuff, I start hearing a drip, and there's blood dropping onto the stomach of the cadaver I'm working on, and I'm like, I gotta look up. So I look up, and there's a panel in the ceiling missing, and a hand sticking through it that is bleeding. And as soon as I look up, it gets snatched away, and then all the ceiling tiles get fucking torn off. And then I turn around and I get dragged into a fucking, like, weird basement somewhere. And these are all fucking random. They just happen. My grandmother appeared at the window and was like, Rebecca, let me in. Rebecca. And then when I was ignoring her, she punched the fucking window and screamed, let me in, you little bitch. And I was
Grandma.
like, reminds me of my grandma.
The Scottish
She
one.
called me Rebecca too.
You say that, but my mother did used to get my name wrong. Anyway, but yeah, and it's got like, and the way it justifies you having different goes is that's just your next shift, because you have to keep burning demons because you've got like a taint on your soul or something.
Yeah, the kind of repetition of it's almost a little roguelike-y in some ways.
It is a bit. And it's really cool. I like it. Like, yeah. And if, there's like 5 different endings. You can burn the wrong body. You can burn the right body, but name the wrong demon so it doesn't work. You can get possessed. There's all sorts of like little differences, and every kind of time you play, there's like a little bit more snippet of the character you're playing as, Rebecca, her story. And it's so good. It's like, there was one where I was working on a corpse, and I look up because there's like the main room that you're working in has like a tiny little corridor to like the mini morgue, basically.
Sorry, I'm thinking of mini moogs right now, so
Yeah.
just you carry on. I'm off in my own
And
world.
it's just fucking great. But yeah, and I look up, and I tend to shut the doors because I'm a big scaredy cat. So I look down, I'm working on the corpse, I look up and the doors are open, and I'm like, oh, wait, no, I shut those fucking doors. And then I start hearing slamming, and I'm like, those are the doors to cold storage being open and closed violently. And I'm like, okay, so I nut up, I go in, and as soon as I step in that fucking room, they all stop. And I'm like, this is horrifying. I love this game. And then you turn around, and there's a fucking like demon behind you that yanks you into the corridor and smashes you into the ground, and suddenly you're in a liminal space, and you're like, okay, fuck. And it's like, it can go real hard on you. And one of my favorite parts is you have to basically, to name the demon, you have to put a bunch of runes in this little, like, it's like a little plate you get. And you periodically, throughout the the preparation of the bodies, you will find sigils. And you have to find, like, on the computer, the sigils that match up so you can name the demon. So you put the plate on the corpse and then burn it, and that.
I've just realised there's a little eternal darkness in that.
A little bit, yeah. So I was like, okay, this has to be the demon. I've got the runes, and I put it on its chest, and I go to like pick up the gurney that the corpse is on, and the corpse opens its eyes, looks at me, and goes, "You've picked the wrong demon, you know." And I'm like, fuck! It's like, this is the wrong one. And I was like, I'm not listening to you, Greg.
Because the best part is, it's lying.
Or it might not be.
Or it might not be.
Yeah. Because sometimes Yeah. It's just, but it's like, oh god, it's a great game of deduction and just horror. It's really, really good. Mortuary Assistant is fantastic. Pick it up. It's fantastic. I've also been watching some spoopy stuff. I will start with Deliver Us from Evil, which is based on a true story, which is another way of saying it's absolute bullshit.
Yeah.
None of this fucking happened. It's lying.
It's like, well, yeah, I mean, I can make things up and tell people, but that doesn't make it true.
Yeah, exactly. Now, I forgot that I'd already tried to watch this movie, but turned it off because it were wank. Now, this is not something I do very often. A movie has to be pretty fucking
Yeah,
awful.
considering what you've watched in the past.
Yeah, it takes a lot
Yeah.
for me to turn off a movie.
Like, no offense, but when it comes to horror movies, you have watched some shit. You have actively sought out some shit.
I have watched some of the most garbage fucking movies
Yeah.
all the way through. But
And
this
none of
one,
them will be as good as that one about the bloke who fucked a wall.
That was an indie horror comedy.
Yeah.
And it was weirdly good. But he did fuck a wall.
He did fuck a wall.
It was such a weird fucking
Do you remember the name of that movie?
The Hole.
Was it just called The Hole?
I don't know, maybe.
Okay.
I can't remember, but it was super weird.
It's in the hole.
Oh, it's in the hole. Where'd the orbs come from? The hole. Anyway, Deliver Us from Evil, based on
fucking
a
old reference
true
by this
story. Fuck off, is it based on a true story? There's no such thing. It's a demon kind of possession, spooky kind of thing.
Demons, those things that exist.
About Eric Banner. I can't remember the character's name. I don't fucking care. Who is a New Yorker? You can tell because he has an argument with the guy from Community who's doing his best Fred Durst impersonation for wearing a Red Sox hat. He's like, "You're in New York. You better take that off before someone will kick your ass." And it's like, wow, I guess they're in New York. But anyway, it starts in Iraq because, of course, America's starting shit in Iraq. Of course, that's going to happen.
Yep.
And they find like a tomb thing, and it's spooky. And a bunch of the soldiers go in there, and they're like, fuck, something weird's happening to our cameras, like that scene from Aliens, but not as cool, because you can't help but feel the looming threat of American imperialism in the background, which is scarier than any demon. But I digress. It's like, this starts with Eric Banner, Officer Banner, going, and there's just like a dead baby, and he's like, damn, that's a dead baby. In New York.
I'm just going to make a note of accents Snipe can't do.
No, I'm
Literally any
wow.
British one. Literally any American one. Australian, questionable.
Question mark.
Fucking hell. I'm copying Eric Banner's New York accent. That's not mine.
Okay.
Mine's
Okay.
not as bad, but
Okay.
not much better. Fuck. No, that's his accent is
Yeah, I believe you.
hell.
I've heard some rough American accents over the years. I've watched 1960s Doctor Who, so, you know. I think I have made the joke before that the bad American accents, because in Dalek, which is is possibly the best episode of early New Who.
I think we can allow this one to be a bit longer.
Oh,
'cause,
yeah. Also, the first 15 minutes were us
16
just
minutes. Exactly.
chatting shit. So like,
Frig.
that'll be gone. Frig.
Please take a photo of that and upload it. I love Freak.
But yeah, no, in Dalek, which is perhaps the best early episode of New Doctor Who.
My headphones aren't on yet.
Everyone, there's a couple of really bad fake American accents in that.
Yeah.
And my headcanon is that that's just how Americans sound in Doctor Who, because in the William Hartnell era, they go to the top of the Empire State Building, and there's a bunch of English guys desperately pretending to be American up there with the worst accents you've ever heard in your life. So my headcanon is that that's just how Americans sound in Doctor Who.
Okay. Are you back, Drumbly Bam Bam?
Yeah, sorry for that. It was a
No
drop,
worries.
but if I didn't go, I
No,
didn't know how.
dude,
Once the
don't worry.
warning came up, I didn't know how long I had to.
Yeah.
No, that's fine. Don't worry about
Those
it.
kind of warnings, it's like, oh, you might be okay for like an hour and a half, or it might be a minute.
Yeah, we just don't know. But yeah, No. The accent I was doing was copying his bad accent.
Oh, okay. That's,
Okay. I can do a really good one. I just don't feel like it right now. Okay.
Yep.
Yeah.
Sure.
Yeah, shut the fuck up. So anyway, it's just kind of, at that point, it's just kind of propaganda.
Yeah.
And it's just like him and Fred Durst go to a house.
Is DJ Lethal there?
Yes.
Okay, good.
I don't know who that is.
So he can bring it on.
Yes. I know that.
DJ Lethal is the DJ in Limp Bizkit.
I knew that.
Yeah.
I knew that.
Or at least he was. Is he still in Limp Bizkit? I don't fucking know. I don't follow Limp Bizkit that
Not
closely.
after this movie. Because it's Fred Durst.
Yeah.
So him and Fred Durst go to a house with a report of a domestic disturbance. Guys obviously hurt his wife and daughter, which, the cops apparently don't like. I'm not going to get into that. And then, fucking Fred Durst pulls a black blade on the guy, which is that's not cool. That's kind of fucked up.
A cop having more ninja shit, that is the reddest of red flags.
That is really not okay. So they chase this guy. And then they go to, a zoo, because there's,
Can you say the word zoo for me again, please?
Zoo?
Yeah.
What?
No, carry on.
Zoo. Well, you say zoo.
Yeah, because the first time you said it, you were like, zoo.
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 Stop making fun of me.
No, it was adorable.
Shut up. You make me blush. I talk about cum professionally, but you can make me blush. Fucking great. But yeah. They go to the zoo. Zoo. And maybe in hopes of... They go to a Pazuzu.
They go to a zoo to find a dog to shoot. Yeah, okay.
And they'll... Because it's the mother of the... There's a mum who yeeted her baby at some mountain lions or some shit. I don't fucking know. I was kind of checking out at this point pretty hard. Even though this was the second time I've seen this part.
This isn't going to be another thing Snipe hasn't heard and hasn't seen, is it?
You mean that horror movie I watched was just things heard and seen, and then when you asked me about it on the podcast, I was like, okay, I was drunk, and I can't remember a thing I heard or saw.
See, I'm making callbacks to old episodes to reward the people who are invested to have heard all the old ones and are now checking into this one after a break. Mm-hmm. That's a little bit of a reward for them.
Yeah, feel rewarded.
For being invested into the expanded universe of MisanthroPod.
Yeah, but I also wrote down the name of a criminal that Eric Banner caught. One of the beat cops is like, hey, you're Eric Banner. I don't give a shit about his name. And he's like, yeah, that's me. Don't forget about it.
Alright, okay.
And it's like, yeah, you caught Marvin the Molester. And I'm like, you had a team of writers and that's what you came up with? Marvin the Molester? Really? Fuck, that's almost as bad as the fucking accents in this movie. Anyway, and he's all like, yeah, I got a big dick. Anyway, where's the Pope? Again. Anyone from New York, do not interact. Just don't interact. I don't want to hear from you. No, I'm joking. So they go and they find this woman and she's feverishly reciting a Doors song. It's I can't remember what it is. I don't care. And the cop, Eric Banner, he's grabbing her and he's like, why did you do that to your baby? And it's
This is the dead baby from earlier.
I think.
Sorry, I'm a little moored from the story.
So am I. I was just like, what? Oh yeah, I think there was a dead baby, but in an alleyway. But apparently she yeeted her baby at a bear or something, and she's crazy and she's digging a hole in the ground or something, and then there's after realizing that she's just banana pants, disturbed, they see some grab in a hoodie. It's he goes, who's that? And it's just some guy with corpse paint on who walks off, and they don't know.
That's just one of Dimmu Borgir.
You're right there, Eric Borgir. That's his name, the lead singer, Eric Borgir.
One of my favourite...
He's going to get a Dimmu burger.
Yeah, one of my favourite little jokes from Metalocalypse is when Nathan Explosion thinks that he is going to have to go and get a regular job, and so he has a dream about working at Dimmu Burger.
Which is
incredible. And I was like, I get that reference.
That's very fun.
Yeah.
But yeah, and then the guy just walks off, and that is the exact point I turned it off last time, because I was like, this is so fucking tedious. I am so done with this. So yeah, do not watch fucking Deliver Us from Evil. It's wank. I also saw Midnight Mass, which is a new series for the same people who did The Haunting of Bly Manor and The Haunting of Hill House, which are both incredibly good series. It's a little different. It's about this little island village where like everyone knows everyone, and someone who grew up in a small town. Jesus Christ, they do get that pretty right.
I'm imagining in my head the Isle of Man sketches from the Fast Show right now.
I can't even remember any of those.
Don't worry about it.
Okay, I won't.
From decades ago.
Yeah. But yeah, no, it's very good. The actors are very good. A priest comes in, and because it's a little religious town, and like there's like a woman, I think her name's like Beverly, and she's like the goody two shoes, like right hand man of the priest, and she's like this judgmental, horrible woman who's like really nasty, and it's about a couple of people who have like fucked up. Like the main character, he got drunk and got into an accident and ended up killing his girlfriend in a car accident or something. So he's like coming home, and he's out on like probation or whatever, and he's still got to have like weekly check-ins with his like counselor and stuff like that. And it's just kind of going through like the minutia of small town boy goes and lives it big, fucks up because the big city will just chew you up. If there's anything even remotely like, if there's even a remote like dent in your armor, they will burrow into it and find something to destroy you with. Not that he is blameless. He's not portrayed as blameless in this. You know, he fucked up with all of his drugs and bullshit. But, you know, it's a nice kind of, like, thing of that, and he comes back, and there's, like, his childhood sweetheart who's pregnant and stuff, which I usually, if there's a pregnant person in any horror, I will not watch it as a tocophobic, because I have not seen a single person who has written a story like that, up until now, who has dealt with that in a mature fashion. It's like putting sexual assault in a horror. You're taking the easy way out. 90% of the time, if you put that in there, you shouldn't do it, you haven't done it well. So, you know, not saying that, that kind of topic should never be broached in fiction. I'm just saying in horror movies, it's always used as a cheap fucking, like, point, and it drives me fucking nuts. I hate it. So, yeah, and, like, the new priest shows up, and suddenly, you know, like, there's a girl in a wheelchair, and suddenly she's starting to be able to walk again, and everyone's going to church, everyone's getting more devout, because God is giving them blessings. It's got a very kind of Innsmouth kind of feel to it.
Got into Peter Popov's stash of water.
It's the prayer water.
Again, I feel very sorry for listeners who have to try and keep up with, like, sitting there going, what, I've got to look up who Peter Popov is now.
Don't look up who Peter Popov is. He's a televangelist who's obviously a fucking liar. Yeah. But yeah, and I really like the priest. He's played very well. It does, however, you start to notice, I think this is just because it's the third kind of series that have been written by the same people, and it's like in the same kind of horror-esque kind of like thing to it, where you start to notice that there's a lot of stuff where it's just character A talking to character B in this big, fancy, extended monologue, which it works, but I noticed how many there were in this. And I'm
if there's a formula, you know,
yeah,
even if it's good, once you've seen it enough times, you start to it loses the shine a little. Yeah, even if it's still good, it's you know.
But yeah, no, I really like how black and white it is. I'm not going to tell you what the spooky thing is, but honestly, I thought it was pretty well done. It was cool. So if you want a spooky kind of like creeping dread, it is Lovecraftian in a lot of its dealings, like just with the small town and everyone kind of being quite suddenly very like, overly religious and it's good. I like it. Again, it nails a lot of the kind of funner points, and I really enjoyed it. I watched... There's two more things I'm going to talk about before I'm boring everyone shitless. I watched another horror movie called Countdown, which I didn't like very much. And the
Carol Vorderman's the killer.
Yeah, she's like...
I was like, come on, there must be a joke here somewhere. Come on. Oh, I think...
Excellent. But yeah, no, the real horror is it's on Channel 5. I don't know if it was on Channel 5, I can't remember.
What? A Countdown?
Yeah.
Channel 4 show, wasn't it?
Fuck it. I'm so out of touch. All the youngins are going to be like, well, I'm not listening to this anymore. She doesn't have a finger on the pulse. But yeah, it's basically, do you remember deathclock.com? Where you type it in and you'd be like, oh, you're a smoker, how tall are you? Are you agnostic, whatever, and then it'll tell you how much longer you had to live. It's like that, but it's an app.
An app that is 60 gigabytes and people are just happy to download and it downloads
they're
instantly.
Downloading it on fucking mobile data, like, it's fine, and it downloads instantly. And it's like, bitch, what fucking... This I can't suspend. Okay, there's an app that's killing people, fine. But it's 60 gig? Fuck off. Also...
My phone is literally smaller than that. Yeah. I guess I'm safe.
Maybe. But there's literally, and the funny thing is, every time you see a character download it, it's got 3.6 stars on the App Store.
I love my mediocre curse apps.
Yeah, it's like, it's okay.
It's alright.
I mean, demons come and kill you, but it's fine. Yeah. And half of the problems half of the hauntings are caused by not fully reading the terms and conditions. And it's not supposed to be funny.
Was it written by someone who writes those EULAs? It
was written by someone who writes EULAs, yeah.
And he was just so fucking pissed off that no one ever reads them that he's like, I'm going to write a story where people that don't read it get murdered by the demons.
Yeah. But no, it starts off, and it was very obviously written by a middle-aged dude. Because there's a bunch of teenagers sitting around a table, and they start talking about...
Hello, fellow teenagers.
Like, hello, fellow teenagers. So, about that prohibition. I don't know why they're talking about prohibition.
Are we all excited to go to the Snoop Doggy Dogg concert?
Oh, yes. Can't believe I got drafted into World War I. Anyway.
That Vera Lynn's an up-and-coming star.
Oh, that Lily Marlene's a bit problematic. Anyway, so all these 50s fucking 17-year-olds around a table, and they start talking about, calorie counting, and I'm like, well, this is gross. This is written by someone who thinks they know what teenagers talk about. And one of them's like, I never eat more than 1,200 calories a day. I have an app for that. And then... the other one's another girl's like, oh, I need that. Famously overweight teenagers. Because they're all again, not body shaming, either end of the scale, whatever. But you can't be in Hollywood unless you're basically a child who weighs nothing as a girl. So these kids who are literally 5, 6 stone wet through were like, oh, I need to lose weight. I'm so fat. And I'm like... I'm going to bulldog the man who wrote this feel nothing.
You could interpret it as it is a demonstrating the absurdity of the expectations placed on young women.
The way it is portrayed is more, look at how stupid and vapid girls are.
Okay, I was trying to give.
You were trying to give that boomer the benefit of the doubt.
I was trying to offer some a counterpoint.
Maybe. But this is the pivotal moment. Because when the other girl, who's also very, very skinny, tries to download Countdown to Skinny, I think it's called Countdown to Skinny.
Which not even a good name.
It's not even a good name. It's like, oh, is this the one? It's got a ram skull as the avatar, and it's like, it will tell you when you die!
No, that's the Binding of Isaac.
It's like, oh no, fuck, okay. So they're like, no, what does it do? And it's like, oh, it tells you how long you've got left to live. And they're like, that's so cool. Let's download it. That's fetch. Well, of course, they wouldn't use that because they're not as cool as me and avid Mean Girls
with your very, very up-to-date references.
Yes. Speaking of which, one of the girls is like, I don't know, guys. I don't really want to mess with that stuff. And one of them, the girl with the skinny fucking app, turns around and goes, whatever, biatch. This movie came out in 2019. And I'm like, what fucking year is this? That's outrageous. So they all download it, and they're all like, oh, I live until 32, I live until 95, and then the character who's like, I don't know, is like, I've got 3 hours left to live. So she has to, and they're like, okay, whoever has the least time to live has to drink all the drinks on the table. I'm like, yeah, that's what we call a self-fulfilling prophecy.
Yeah.
Because you're going to die of alcohol poisoning. Because the way teenagers drink is fucking stupid. So so her boyfriend comes up and is like, I'll help you drink, and gets fucking slaughtered. And then they go get in his car, and then she waits for him to collapse against the door and stumble into the car before she's like, I don't know, I don't want to get in a car with you even though I'm in the car with you, because you're like really drunk. And he's like, I drive better when I'm drunk, which is probably the best written thing, because I have, like, my father used to say that. He's dead now. You're welcome.
Sadly not.
Yeah. So she gets out the car and walks, and he's like, I hate it when you're like this, babe. And then he just drives off, fucking pissed out of his head. And then she gets an alert, and the alerts from this fucking app are so annoying. It's like an evil laugh followed by like a stock scream. And it's like, okay. Because, you install an app and it's like, do you want to allow push notifications? All of these idiot teenagers just selected yes. Which, no.
Rather the objectively correct answer, which is no, never ask me for anything again.
How fucking dare you?
How dare you?
How fucking dare you?
I curse your lineage.
I hope the winter takes you. And it goes, user agreement broken. Like terms of use broken. She's like, whatever. So it's apparently really bad for her to walk home. But she walks home and there's like Drew Gooden behind her. This really lanky YouTube reference. He's a millennial as well.
He's a YouTube
He's
man.
very funny. It's like this tall lanky dude behind her, obviously trying to look menacing. And she's like, oh no, the app said I have 7 minutes to live. This man is going to kill me. Well, I mean, that's what is inferred by her panicked looking over her shoulder and direct eye contact with the man behind her. As you do. And then he gets in a car and leaves, and she's like, oh, thank God. She's literally 2 minutes away from where the party happened. And that's her home. So she didn't even need to lift home anyway. She just got in the car. So she could tell her boyfriend off for drinking and driving, which, good. Fuck you if you drink and drive. And then she just runs home, and she's like, oh no, I saw some spooky, like, figures in black cloaks, and I'm like, bitch, I am literally just buying milk. Let me live. And she goes to the bathroom to get a glass of water, and now I don't think it was meant to be scary, but the scariest part of that is the water quality that comes out of that tap.
Yeah.
It looks like milk. And I'm like, do you have milk on tap, you sick bitch?
It's probably a Nestle factory up the road that's stealing all the fresh water.
Oh, probably, yeah. Just pumping milk back into the fucking pipes. And then she gets killed by a supernatural force. And it's like, okay, so...
I was hoping it was going to be Final Destination rules.
Well, no, it's just an invisible thing just, like, shakes you around and, like, cracks your skull open. And it's like, oh, okay.
That sucks.
And then we get to fucking Virgin McMain character, who I fucking hate.
The last girl.
Yeah, and she's a nurse, and she's blonde, and she's skinny and pretty, and she's the nice nurse. You know how I know she's the nice nurse? Because she's the youngest, most Caucasian one. I don't genuinely believe that was intentional, but it doesn't look good considering what I saw so far. So basically, the guy he crashed in like because he was a drunk bitch, and obviously he was gonna fucking crash his car. And there was like Final Destination, a big spear of like tree branch through the passenger seat where his girlfriend would have been sitting. So she would have died there, and it's obviously like she broke the user agreement by getting out of the car.
Okay.
So then a ghost had to kill her because that's just how it works. This is why you always read terms and conditions. And everyone, and then the guy's like, there's literally like the main fucking like ward that he's in, and then there's just a door to like this broken down wing of the hospital that's full of asbestos and shit. And it's like, and he just wanders in there, and he tells her about the app, and she's like, that's so silly. I can't even remember his name because they didn't have subtitles, so I couldn't hear a lot of the names. and stuff like that. But it's okay because the movie was bad. Long story short, the guy gets fucking killed by a ghost because he decides he doesn't want to go have surgery, which is back in the UCLA. He's
EULA.
EULA. I fucking knew what I meant. And she's like, oh no. A nurse, which I know I'm getting real nitpicky at this. The fucking head nurse has like fucking like proper Instagram nails, and I'm like, they won't let you in a fucking ward if you have nail varnish on. I'm sorry. Literally, demonic app. Immersion broken. Nurse has long nails. But yeah, and she's like, oh yeah, some kid in like 227 died.
You're
she's
talking
like,
about the American healthcare system here,
That's
so
fair.
you know, maybe lower your standards
actually,
a smidge.
that's fair. But yeah, and because we know
Up your
she's
cost.
yeah, she's the nice nurse who gives a shit. She goes, oh no, Sean, or whatever the fuck his name is. I don't care. I'm not a nice nurse. And the nurse is like, oh, he's dead. Died in the stairwell. They
Fuck
think
him.
he jumped. Fuck him. Hope he's in hell. Fucking told his family that it was an autoerotic asphyxiation. Told him he was looking at child pornography. Fuck this guy. You know, it's just like, wow, okay. There's so much vengeance here for some guy.
For legal reasons, I must state, most of those things did not happen in the movie.
No. And it just goes on, and I don't know if the actress wasn't directed properly or she's not a very good actress, but she is just supposed to be she's the one good one. She's like the fucking writer's fantasy girl, and it's really quite creepy because she doesn't have a personality. And when she does get a love interest, who's a black guy, they kiss and he gets killed by a ghost immediately.
How dare he?
And I'm like, okay. They try and make it like, they go see a priest, and the priest is like smoking weed, and he's like, well, yeah, you my Grubhub, because they had to have like a quirky character, and they're like, and they're like, oh, the devil is a liar. If you prove the devil wrong, then the curse will be broken. And it's like, what? Where does it say that? Also, it's an ancient traveler curse, because I'm not going to say the actual word they use because it's a slur.
When was this made?
2019.
Probably shouldn't have done that.
Yeah. And like he's like, oh yeah, this ancient traveler curse. This traveler woman showed up and was like, hey, I'll tell you when you're gonna die, but if you try not to die, then you'll break the end user license agreement and you'll get killed by a ghost. And the guy's like, fuck that, and then gets killed by a ghost. And there's a picture of the traveler woman holding up a scroll, and like it looks exactly like the app. And it's like, great. So demons are just digital now. That's great. Digital Devil Saga.
Yeah, thank you. I was trying to work out a Digital Devil Saga
I know, honey.
joke there.
But yeah, bullshit happens, and the doctor, the dad from Twilight, Carlisle, not the hot guy with the mustache, the vampire dad. He's actually a doctor in this, and he's playing like a creepy lech, and he did real good. That guy creeped me out. Fucking nice acting. Dad from vampire dad from Twilight, nice one. And she's like, oh, he downloaded the app, so if I kill him, then it'll break the curse. So she's running around with a syringe full of quote 3 times the lethal dose of morphine, which no, it's not, but okay, I'll suspend my disbelief. And she keeps trying to like stab him with this fucking thing, and then either he gets yanked away or she gets fucking yeeted across the hospital.
I'm imagining a real Benny Hill type situation here.
It kind of is. And then she's just like, fuck this, and just chases him with a crowbar, and I'm like, you are a nurse! You're gonna beat a dude to death with a crowbar.
Hey, if she's a nurse, she knows crowbars.
It makes her a more
They
efficient
fuck people
killer.
up.
Yeah, it fucks people. Oh god almighty. But yeah, and like the ghost, it's a demon. It's like the devil or whatever. It's like, no, you can't kill the sex criminal. No, because then you'll prove me wrong and it'll hurt my fifis and I'll have to delete the app. Or something. You know, I'm paraphrasing, but basically. And then like the demon's trying to kill her sister because her younger sister's there, because, I mean, who cares? Her younger sister's there. And then she's like, hey, demon! And she's like got the injection.
Leave those kids alone.
Yeah, right? In her arm.
I wanted to do that too.
Thank you. And she's going to inject this lethal dose of morphine into her own arm. And the demon looks up and immediately turns into their dead mum. And it's like, oh, hi, honey. And she's like, oh, Mom. It's like, well, obviously not. You've literally just seen it be a demon, and you know it can do that. But okay. And yeah, and then she injects herself with morphine, and it's kind of gross because it does kind of glorify suicide a little bit there. And I was like, oh, maybe that's not as clever as, maybe give that a few more runs through. And the thing is, the main character's timer, she has like less than a minute left. This morphine overdose kills her in 10 seconds. The onset of action for morphine is about 20 minutes. So it would have been so fucking funny to just have them standing around for 20 minutes.
Like real time with no cuts.
Real time with no cuts. Just like, any minute now I'm going to start feeling real good and then real dizzy.
I mean, if you want to read a magazine or something like one.
Yeah, the demon's just reading, like, I don't know, Haunting Weekly or something. Just...
Better Homes and Gardens.
Horse and Hound. And like...
Reader's Gardens. Oh, that's a nicely trimmed bush.
Oh, fuck off. And she collapses within 10 seconds and dies, proving the devil wrong and breaking the curse. And her sister's like, no. And she goes up and rolls her over. And she's written on her arm, Narcan, and then a circle for an injection point. So, what have we learned? Suicide is cool. And also, morphine will kill you in less than 10 seconds if you have an overdose of it. And also, after it's done all that damage to your body kills you, if you just inject Narcan, or you get an untrained 14-year-old girl to inject you with Narcan, it makes you alive instantly, and organ damage and stuff is fine. So, it's cool, actually. And then the curse is broken, yippee-ki-yay, everything's great. But then they go to see their mum's grave, and they're all like, oh, isn't it sad that mum's dead or whatever? Oh, that's bad. And then they walk back to the car, and she gets a phone notification with that really annoying, like, evil laugh and stock scream. And it goes, countdown, version 2.0, installed! And it's like, so, what did the devil just go, I'll let you have that one. Ooh. Massively misunderstanding how medicines work. Nice one. You know what? You should not be a registered nurse. But yeah, really bad. Terrible. Did not like that movie. Not as bad as fucking Deliver Us from Evil. That was shit. Okay, last movie I saw was actually a lot more enjoyable. Case 39. Okay. With Renee Zellweger.
Oh, okay. It's been a while since I thought about Renee Zellweger.
Yeah, well, I mean, this movie is like they still got big CRTs and flip phones, so it's.
Okay, so it was when she was an actress who was getting a lot of work.
Yeah, okay. A little bit like, you know, she's obviously a bit older, but you know we stan. It's cool. And I preferred this one a lot more. She's playing a social worker who is kind of weirdly racist to a family in the beginning. Because, like, this isn't a weakness of the writing, I feel. I feel this is a weakness of society. We live in one. Blah, blah, blah. Get a load of this society. So basically, like, the dad's, like, a drug addict, so obviously he's a sack of shit who deserves to die. Instead of looking at that as like an illness, they're looking at it as like a deliberate, malicious kind of thing, which is like, but whatever. And she's like swamped at the social working office, and then the girl who played Sharon in the Silent Hill movie, because she was horror child for a long time. There was a spate of like a couple of years where that kid was in every horror movie, being the creepy little girl. Really annoying kid. But I'm not gonna, like, be angry at the kid because, yeah, she does her best. And, like, she decides to adopt Alessa from her family because, like, she's like, I'm certain this child is being abused. I can't find any physical, like, you know, or anything like that. So I can't go in there and take the kid away, but the parents are super weird and creepy, and the dad won't talk to her directly. He, like, whispers in his wife's ear, and then the wife relays what he says, and it's just spooky. And Also, the kid's name is Lilith. Now, Lilith, feminist bitch we love, is a religious character who was actually Adam's first intended in the Garden of Eden. But God turned her into the first demon, or a succubus specifically, because she wouldn't bow to Adam's will. So because she wouldn't become his subservient wife, she was kicked out of the Garden of Eden and became a demon.
She's a really fun character in The Binding of Isaac.
Yeah, and a very fun character biblically, if you just want to see the inherent, bullshit. So this kid's name is Lilith, but they call her Lily, and I was immediately like, oh, so the kid's evil. Because obviously the kid's fucking evil. And yeah, it turns out the kid's fucking evil.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And it kind of goes where, the parents try to cook her in the oven. And, Renee Zellweger breaks in with, her cop friend and saves the kid. And then the kid's like, why can't I live with you? Why can't you adopt me? I want to go to Silent Hill. In my restless dreams, I see that town. And she's all like, yeah, okay, fine, I'll fucking adopt you. And she manages to do it. And then things start going real south because guess what? The kid's fucking evil. Who could have thought? Lilith, Lucifer, Child Puncher the Fourth is evil.
Yeah.
It's terrible.
Got high hopes for her brother Damien, though.
Yeah. Only good things from here on out. And, there's, the kid, the therapy group the kid's in. One of the kids goes and, from the beginning of the movie, he, kills his parents with a tire iron. And then he's all like, I didn't mean to. I got a phone call from your house, Renee Zellweger. And because he's Hispanic, he's he's speaking in Spanish. But then Renee Zellweger looks at the camera and goes, what do you mean, he said? And then he says something else in Spanish. And she's like, what do you mean he told you to harm your parents? In Spanish. And it's like, okay, cool. That's fine. So it's obviously something fucky is wrong with Lilith, demonic, spawn, cat murderer, Sullivan. And there's Renee Zellweger's hot dude love interest is scared of hornets, and he's a child psychologist, so he sits down with her, and she's like, I find you facile. And he's like, do you know what that means? She's like, yes, shallow, insincere, small pee-pee, or whatever she's fucking saying.
Is she really doing the Family Guy shallow and pedantic thing?
A little bit, yeah. And she's like, I'm afraid of myself. And he's like, well, you afraid of yourself? Why are you afraid of yourself? She's like, because I have bad thoughts about people. And he's like, okay. About me? And she's like, yeah, don't like you. And he's like, why? And she's like, I just don't like you. And he's like, oh, okay.
Oh, that's just rude.
That stings. I'm afraid of hornets, by the way. Okay, thanks very much. And then they leave. And then he has a horrible scene where CGI hornets are coming out of his ear and his mouth. And then a bunch of
I hate it when CGI hornets come out of my ears.
Yeah, and there's they do the classic zoom in on the eye thing, and there's one crawling out of his eye, and you're like, it's fine. But none of them are stinging him, and I'm like, that's half of the fucking horror of hornets, is that, or buzzing insect, that they bite you, or whatever.
I'm going to be honest, I feel that if a hornet was crawling out of my eyeball, that would be my more immediate concern.
No, I'd be like,
stinging.
Shit, I've got a wobby crawling out my eye, but at least it didn't sting me.
Yeah.
That's scary. I'd find it scarier if they stung me.
I mean, yeah, but I feel in order of magnitude of scariness, those two things are on quite different levels.
Matt, you don't like wobs. You don't like things that bite you.
Sting.
Bite you with their butt.
They bite you with their ass. Bite you. Yeah. You don't like wasps and stuff.
No, not massive fan. Although I've had to get a lot better at those things now, because with little ones around, I don't want them to freak out as much as I would do naturally.
Oh,
so
yeah.
No, it's best to be calm around them, it's fine. Inside, shitting myself.
Yeah. I.e. good parenting. But yeah. And I would say that the scariest part of wasps and stuff is that they sting you.
Just for the fun of it?
Yeah, just because fuck you, actually.
But if they crawled out of your eyeballs, that would be the worst thing they did.
That would be bad. But I'd be like, oh, thank fuck it didn't sting me. Oh, weight off my mind, that's fine. Open the window, let the fucker out.
I don't know, I got stung by bees and wasps a lot as a child.
Because you were sexually intimidating to them.
Possibly.
That's what my
don't know.
teachers always told me at that weird private school I went to. It's like, if you get stung by something, it means that you were sexually intimidating it. And I'm like, yeah. That wasp was so scared I was going to fuck its wife. It's like, hey, buzz, girl.
Yeah.
You looking for a good time? Ow! Never mind.
Anyway, case 39.
Case 39. So yeah, and he dies. His head explodes. And I don't think it's because of wasps. But maybe he was just like, oh, this is frightening. Dead now.
I know, it's allergies.
He's allergic. The thing is, they didn't sting him. Maybe he's allergic to not being stung.
No, it's like hay fever season.
Oh, fuck, okay. He's just like, plant jizz. And dies.
Yeah, it's been known to happen.
Yeah. But it's the fucking Lilith, the demon child, called him, and then he had wasps in the ear he answered the phone with, so...
Okay.
You know, she's killed again, the little shit. And that's how she kills people. So then Renee Zellweger talks to her cop friend and she's like, so maybe the parents who tried to kill this child were okay, actually? And the cop's like, what the fuck is wrong with you? You are literally a child service, like worker. And you're like, maybe those parents should have killed their kid, because maybe the kid's a bit of a dick. And he storms off and he's like, if I fucking hear you say that shit again, I'm reporting you. And she's like, wow, what a douche. I just said that maybe these parents who tried to kill their child were doing a good thing.
I'm not saying it's the right thing, but we've all met a kid where you're like, someone's, maybe.
Okay, I'm not gonna lie.
I was about to. I was like, I'm gonna have to worm my way out of this, and I'm like, oh no. Snipe is bravely launching onto that grenade for me. Excellent.
I am not gonna lie. I really wanted to see Renee Zellweger stab a child. I really wanted the conclusion of this movie of her just knifing a 10-year-old girl. That because like they literally set it up. So like the kid's like, let me in, Emily, let me in, and like smashing the door and stuff. And like Renee Zellweger's like clutching a knife, being like, go away. And I'm like, is she gonna stab a child? Am I gonna watch Renee Zellweger just kill a child? Like just fucking just knife her? Because that would be. She has a screwdriver at one point. It's like, she's gonna fucking screwdriver this child. And then like she goes to see the dad in prison, and he's like, people have been dying, huh? And she's like, yeah, how do I kill your daughter? And he's like, that thing ain't my daughter, but you gotta kill it when it's sleeping. And she's like, all right, kill it when it's sleeping. And it's just like,
I feel
what
like,
the fuck?
I ain't a big fan of prison guards, but I feel like one of them should have probably noticed
there was literally a
the
prison
planned
guard
murder.
standing behind her while this is happening. This shows you, like social status will let you get away with anything.
True.
Because if I'd have gone in there and asked this dude how to kill his daughter, I would have probably been in the cell next to him. But
Yeah.
Renee Zellweger, fancy psychologist that she is, it's like, oh, she probably knows. It's a psychology thing. It's probably one of them. Yeah. It's fine. So then she starts plotting how to kill this child. And I'm like, why am I rooting for the woman trying to kill a child? I mean, the child is evil. Just stone cold fucking evil. She's making grown-ups fucking, like, shoot themselves in the head. She's making kids kill their parents. It's fucked up. Yeah, okay. But Renee Zellweger's like, well, this is obviously my personal responsibility. I need to murder an infant. A preteen. That's fine. And, like, the kid starts getting really snarky, like, you have to do what I say. If I want ice cream, you gotta buy me ice cream. I want a new dress. And I'm like, well, it's definitely a child. You know, just being like, oh, yeah, fuck you, lady. You gotta do what I say, because otherwise I'll kill people you care about. And Renee Zellweger's just like, fuck, dude. Okay. Guess I gotta get this kid ice cream every evening. And the thing is, the thing can read her brain, like, read her mind. And actively says so multiple times. So she goes to her doctor and goes, I haven't been sleeping. Can I have some sleeping pills? And he's like, yeah, that'll be $600. And she's like, yep, this is a functional, like, economic system. And then goes and crushes these blue pills up in chamomile tea, which turns it, like, this weird color that there's no way this kid would not know she's being drugged, especially if it has the intelligence of a fucking demon.
I'll be honest, if you gave me chamomile tea, I'll look at it and go, well, I don't know what color it's supposed to be. So
it's like Pisswasser.
Okay.
It's just like, you know, really weak tea before you put milk in. That's just what it is.
Okay.
Yeah, it's pee-pee. And she's like, bring it back with urine in it like I asked for, Renee Zellweger. And she's like, stop quoting Family Guy. That's never been good. And she's like, yeah, even for a demon, that was low.
Yeah.
But yeah, so she has a couple of sips, and she's like, so let's do something tomorrow. And she's like, why don't you surprise me? And she's like, I'm not good at it. And the kid's like, you're getting better. And takes another sip of chamomile sleeping tablet mush. And she's like, aha, and then she just burns her house down.
Okay.
But she has fish, and I wrote down in my notes, has fish, will obviously die. The fish don't die.
Oh, good. Good.
That I think of. Actually, they're probably free now, but that's not released from the burden of life free. But just give me some time to like catch up to that. Give me 1 minute. So Renee Zellweger's mum got into an accident and died when she was like 10. And that's like a big part of her backstory is why she's a child service kind of person. And they get in the car because she burns the house down, and then the little girl comes out and goes, that was mean, and then holds her hand, and she's like, fuck. Killing children is difficult. Gotta think up something clever.
Yeah, small and wiry. You try and stab them, they just juke and jive.
It's like trying to stab the last noodle in the spaghetti bowl.
Yeah.
Oh, it's fucking impossible, mate. That's why you get chopsticks and you just go in there and pinch them.
This is where you go, rejected titles for this episode.
Killing children is hard.
How to kill a child. Like, no, shouldn't use that. No, that's a bad one.
I still wish tell the kids that mummy's dead. I still wish that had been a title, but you were both like, no, that's way too fucking
grim.
That's
too much.
And I was like, okay, fine. But yeah, and like, so she's like, okay, guess I'm stuck with you. And then they drive and they follow the cop car because the cop's going to take her to someplace she can stay because the house burned down. And then she like veers off the exit ramp at the last minute, and the little girl's like, your mommy hated you. And she's like, yeah, we been new. Well, I'm paraphrasing, but yeah. And she's like, she hated herself and she hated you. That's why it wasn't an accident. You know that. And she's just like, shut up, you fucking little demon bitch. And she's like, wow, that's why your mom hated you so much and fucking died by running the car off the road. And then she's like, you know what? Fuck this. And like she puts like a bunch of demonic visions in her head, and she's like, it's not real. Everything's fine. And it looks like she's about to crash into like a big like articulated like truck, and she doesn't because it's fake. Then she drives to like the river, and she's like to this little girl. She's like, "Oh, are you scared? Are you scared? I'm not." And I'm like, I want to see Renee Zellweger kill a child. This is gonna be fucking boss. So she drives into the river, and the kid's panicking. And then she like goes to undo her buckle, and the kid's like grabs her hand, and then I understand they couldn't show her struggling and leaving a child to drown in a car, so they make her a CGI demon face. And I'm like, yeah, honestly, I can hear the board meeting going, mate, you can't do this.
You can't just have the finale of the movie just be infanticide. You can't
be the heroic end of the movie. You can't be the main character killed a child, and that was pretty dope, actually.
This isn't the movie, is it Children at Play? That horror movie where kids are killing people, and at the end of the movie, just like the townsfolk murdering all the kids in town.
I thought that was Children of the Corn, but probably...
I've not seen Children of the Corn.
I have not seen it in a long time, so... But yeah, and it's like, okay. And then she gets free, and it's like... And she's like watching the water, like shaking, and her fish are in there, but the thing is, the fish are free now.
Yes.
So the fish are okay in my...
They're now an invasive species.
Then, yeah, it's great. Killed a child, ruined a river's ecosystem. Fucking 2 for
Amazing.
2, Zellweger. Fucking incredible. And then she's just sat on the fucking lip of where she drove off, and there's like a big bubble comes up, and she's like, do I have to go and actually knife that child and make sure she stays down? No? Okay. And then she just sits there as this like zooms out, and the sirens are approaching, and then the credits roll, and I'm like, fuck. Heroic child murder.
Yeah.
Wow. It was intense.
Yeah, I can imagine.
And honestly, a pretty enjoyable watch, because, yeah, I was just sitting there going, how are you going to get around the fucking boardroom meeting if you can't have the main character heroically murder a child?
Let's just say that script probably went through a few rewrites to get made.
I think it did.
Yeah.
But yeah.
Anyway, we should quickly, because we're very over time.
I was going to say, if we're going to get onto questions, considering how long we've been recording for, and the fact that we've got nursery pickup in approximately 7 minutes. couple of quick fire ones.
Sure, let's go. Sorry. Drummer Matt, what's the email?
thedrummermat@gmail.com.
Yeah, that's probably right.
Yeah, it's probably
Probably
right.
right.
Editing will fix it, but yes.
We've had quite a few emails about just sending best wishes to you, Snipe, as a starter.
Thank you,
That was
everybody.
quite nice.
I love it when people send emails in anyway, but thank you for sending me well wishes. You are all beautiful, and I love you. Mwah.
Yeah, so there was a few, but none of them are particularly time sensitive, so I might do a couple next time.
Okay.
If we depending on time. So, but a couple of quick fire ones, just so we don't feel too blue balls.
Sure.
Space Marine Deepmar.
Hello.
If you could cast celebrating Chilean American actor Jose Pedro Palmaceda Pascal as an X-Man character, who would you cast him as?
As an X-Men character.
Glob Herman.
Yeah, because I want to see his fucking liver. Fuck off.
I feel like he'd do a good gambit, right?
He's got that charisma. And the thing is, I've always wanted to be Rogue, so, you know.
There we go, that checks out.
There you go.
Yeah, so yeah,
Fair.
Gambit. I
Okay.
think he'd be an incredible Gambit. Yeah.
The Secret Squig.
Good
They,
name. Hello.
They have they have a new Squiggoth.
Oh, nice.
Nice.
Struggling what to name them. They already have one called Squiggly Ray Cyrus. Who wears a lei because, you know, why not?
Yeah.
But they don't know they haven't got a clue what to call the younger sibling. So any suggestions will be appreciated.
The younger sibling.
The younger Squiggoth.
I know you got any ideas, Matt?
No.
Marigold.
I was hoping I could think of something funny by now, but I apparently haven't.
Marigold. That's the name of
Marigold.
my paladin's
Giant spider.
like summon mount, who's a
Yeah.
giant fucking
Oh, yeah.
tarantula. Marigold, Squiggly Ray Cyrus and Marigold. That sounds very cute.
Sorry, not got the. We've been podcasting for a while. Puns are a bit
Yeah.
beyond us at this point.
If we think of anything else, we'll answer in the future.
Yeah.
Okay, and this is more of a it's more of a suggestion to you guys potentially, or I giving you an idea. This is Lord Hedgepig.
Hello.
And they say, have you ever considered doing a series like LGR's Excellent Thrifts? I'm not sure what this is, but videos basically covering your search for old minis.
Lazy Game Reviews. He goes and buys
yep.
a bunch of old electronic stuff. Really, really good videos. He's very cool.
Okay.
No, I love
Cool.
thrifting.
Yeah.
Have you considered doing something similar for your search for old minis?
The problem is most of it is online.
All of it is online. Frankly, there's literally nowhere.
Yeah, so
even
it'd just be looking at eBay for like 15 minutes.
There's literally nowhere.
There's that one place in Leicester.
Leicester is quite a way away from us.
Yeah, which is why
on a
it's
bus.
going to be 15 minutes of eBay searching. So
it
would be a nice idea if there were more physical stores, but as it goes, no, not really.
No, unfortunately, that would be if we had a bunch of stores that had that kind of stuff. That could be a fun idea, but yeah, no, unfortunately, that's
maybe
just out of our control to be able to do it.
Maybe a one-off if we go to like a city where they happen to have a bunch of leftover minis or something, and we could just
I
go
went
in.
to a convention years, and it was at the University of Derby, and they had, I don't know what the convention was, but there was a load of people there, and it was like they had a car boot section, but it was just people's like selling their minis, and there was like loads of cool old ones and things. But I can't remember if it was a Warhammer thing or whether it was just a modelling thing. I can't even remember.
Yeah. Well, if we go to
quite
something like that, we would document it.
Yeah,
but
yeah.
Cool. That'll do for quick fire ones, considering
Okay.
we've been recording for, I don't know how long we'll end up being, but the recording is 2 hours 40.
And 16 minutes was at the start of me complaining about the wanton destruction of the NHS. So
Yes.
probably remove that.
Fair point.
But yeah, so I guess thank you very much for listening. We'll
Won't
try.
leave it so long next time.
Yeah, we'll try not to have
Yeah.
quite such a gap.
Yeah.
But yeah, hope you enjoyed this, and
Thank you so much. Please send some questions in. Thank you so much for all your well wishes, and thank you so much for all your patience during this annoyingly fucking hospital-based time. Not a fan of the cancer meta, but it will be done with in probably 4 months. Is when my chemotherapy is up and I get my surgery. So, nothing to do with cancer. Getting a nose job. No, I'm joking. I need.
You shouldn't do that. You have a very cute nose.
People on the Sims subreddit are complaining that every Sim has my nose, but yeah, okay.
Not you specifically.
Yeah, they're like, Snipe, fuck you, man. Everyone has your nose. And I'm like, I'm obviously not welcome here. But yes, we shall break now to let Drummer Matt, I don't know, go be a good dad or some shit. Something weird like that. But yeah, thank you so much for listening, everybody. Take care. Bye-bye.
Goodbye.
Bye.